the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
What the hell did I just hear? We welcome you in. It is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. It's been a big day. The big guy is exhausted. He's gone through the ringer. And speaking of the ringer, as we say hi, I'm Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson. We'll get to the crew here in just a bit. We've got the Stanley Cup Final. It doesn't happen often. We've had 2 rematches of the Stanley Cup Final in 40 years. We'll set up the odds. We still have about 58 minutes until puck drop up in Edmonton. Now, remember, that was a 7-game series with the Panthers winning 2-1 in Game 7. They opened up with a 3-0 series lead. Edmonton comes back, wins Games 4, 5, and 6, and then the Panthers go back home and win a Game 7. My expectation would be you're going to have the same type of series this year in the Stanley Cup Final. We'll get to the NBA coming up in just a bit. We've got baseball to bet on, but what I miss, the big guy has been nervous all day. That's one thing I do know. And I happen to catch Be Well, Be Safe. I happen to catch the end of Steve Torre's program. And my man sounded like he had gone 12 rounds. And my guy Alfred in White Plains to close it out, that was an excoriation. And I'm not exacerbating. That's not one scintilla of niceness. Little bit of ingratiation, that is blasphemy. And the nerve, the unmitigated gall. No denigration to treat Steve Torre like that and to bloviate all over the radio, apropos of nothing. I'm just playing. I use Stephen A. Smith words. You get me? The big guy could never. Here's what I will say. All right? Everybody just take it easy. The weird part is Stephen A. Smith is coming in and I'm going out. Not that it matters. It doesn't register the same. I've got until the end of June. I'll say this, and I get it. First off, it's a brutal business, and Michelle and Cody, but what do you expect the company to do? Let's just be realistic about this for a second, people. Stephen A. Smith is a no-brainer. He is very good friends with Dog. Here's one thing that may ingratiate you. I'll stop with the Stephen A. Smith words. Here's one thing. Now, back in the day on the rap, I used to have drops of just Stephen A. Smith words, and we were on so late at night. I was a pretty big guy. We were on so late at night, I would just literally hit the buttons and just hear him say things like scintilla, things like blasphemy, things unmitigated gall. But he loves Dog. All right? And there's a genuine idolization of Dog. So if you're thinking about Stephen A. Smith coming in doing ESPN radio, that's just not going to happen. He knows what Dog's about. This isn't Dog looking up to Stephen A. Smith. This is Stephen A. Smith looking up to Dog. His radio career, he kind of curtails it around what Dog is. So he's going to come in and give you a Mad Dog Sports Radio product. And listen, I don't have to say anything. I'm not even going to be here. So the concept of Stephen A. Smith coming in, it hurts, obviously, Michelle and Cody. That's horrible. Been doing this for close to 25 years. Happened to me, happens to everybody. It sucks. They're 2 very talented people, and they're going to be just fine. That's one thing that I do know. Very talented people and going to be just fine. But Stephen A. Smith is a team player. I genuinely have not heard the reaction today, but I do know that people don't like change. Specifically, Mad Dog Sports Radio. And that's what makes it so unique. That's what makes it so special. This is a family. You're part of my family. I've said it a million times when I came back here on VSiN Live and started doing this program. But for me, it's a career peak not because it's on Mad Dog Sports Radio. That's a wonderful addition. It's because it was returning back to family. It's a very unique audience. You're a very unique listener and just friend. So I won't even call you a listener. Never use the word fan. How trite is that? But this is a very unique audience. And with that, you're going to have, obviously, a lot of passion that centers around what the programming looks like, what the programming feels like. It's very provincial. We don't like change. I didn't want to leave back in the day. VSiN's been a great platform for me until they decided not. Mad Dog Sports Radio has always been a great home for me. And Stephen A. Smith was part of this program in the network back in the day. And I can tell you this, when he was part of it, whether you liked the show or you didn't like the show, he was all in. Again, I don't know the dude. I don't know him anything. I don't know the network anything. I just know that you're going to get a person that's all in, is going to work his ass off. And he also is a team player. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. Like, because I was and continue to be nobody, so let's not pretend, but I was on late at night, and I would just get loose as a goose. I would just have fun. The show was weird. It just was. And I would just have conversations with Stephen A. Smith with drops. Literally. Nobody was listening. Nobody was calling. And I had to get by. I'm not George Reister. Okay, I had to do something. Love George, by the way. So I would have these conversations. And next thing you know, somebody texts me the next morning. He's like, check out Twitter. And I'm like, I don't know how to log in, but check it out. And Stephen A. Smith, who's got millions of followers, he took a clip of me, I mean, I guess you could say clowning, but just having fun. And he retweeted it. And it wasn't like, it was me clowning around, like having fun, and he got the joke. That's all I would tell you, is he gets it. He understands what he's doing here, people. Whether it's your style or not. All I do is listen to history podcasts. I wouldn't know what good sports talk, bad sports talk sounds like right now. Dog's entertaining. You come to people for authenticity. You come to listen. Not how many people do you hear on sports talk radio these days where you're like, I got to hear what that person thinks about something. Everybody sounds the effing same. It's embarrassing. It's cookie cutter. It's all the effing same, and it is not respected by people in power. So you have to do something like this. This is a big move for a company because they know that this person is polarizing. This person gets people talking. You know, it's funny. You can have hosts that people will be like, yeah, that's fine. You know, nobody's going to dislike them. Nobody's going to love them, but you'll listen. You'll go through the process of, hey, he'll take my call. But let me ask you, what are they really saying? Are they well read? Do they have opinions? Are they coming from a deeper place? Or is it just some other dick that's just like, hey, bloviating, to use a word, because they always just wanted to be a sports talk host? There's got to be some substance. There's got to be some depth. There's got to be some gravitas. So sometimes you can listen. It's like the Howard Stern thing. You can listen, and you can listen because you hate it. And oftentimes that's more intriguing than listening because you love it. But you'll probably listen. And I promise you this, because I've been through a lot of change in my life, change on this channel, change in life in general. It sucks at first. And it's going to be difficult at first. And you're probably just going to be like, what the hell is this? This doesn't sound the same. And obviously the lineup's been through a lot. McAfee came in, Wright came in, Stephen A. Smith was in, our buddy Evan Cohen is gone, the Rap left, just a lot of turnover. But you eventually start to, Steve, and I thought Steve and Danny did an amazing job. And I'm guessing even when Michelle and Cody showed up, people were probably just like, what the hell is this? And they've done an amazing job, and now you're like, well, I like that. And I get it. It's just human nature. We don't like change. But it's inevitable. Everything changes. Everything comes to an end. The circle keeps continuing. So all I would say is it's not my business to tell you how to feel about it. It's not my business to say like the show, dislike the show. Al, I heard you. And I love you. But just take a deep breath. It will be okay. And understand that most of you come here, not for me, but most of you come to this network because of Christopher Russo, the GOAT. We all agree. And he's the ultimate cosigner. He wants him here. So just maybe take some, maybe there's a little piece in that concept. Now, again, he's going to split you down the middle. You're going to love, you're going to hate him. And that's what a good personality does. So that's all I have to say about that. Really, it's just that rant was just so I could say words like blasphemy, unmitigated gall, apropos, bloviate, excoriate, exacerbate, scintilla, ingratiation, denigration, those type of things. So now let's talk sports, people, and let's make some effing money, because gosh knows I'm going to need it. The big guy. 888-623-3646. As we say hi, as I mentioned, this has been a day for the big guy. Making calls early in the morning, trying to figure out what this means to him. I'll tell you what it means. Absolutely nothing to you. Here's the best way to approach life. When you realize you're insignificant, it just opens up the lanes on the highway. All of a sudden, there is no traffic. It's just peaceful. No conditions, no attachments, just the big guy. What's up?
I mean, it's a big 24 hours for big major brands to bring back recognizable names. One, Stephen A. Smith returning here to Mad Dog Sports Radio. And then a story that we didn't touch on yesterday, but it was massive news around the world. McDonald's brought back the snack wrap. So big brands bringing back recognizable names, a big 24 hours for that.
Glad I brought you in, big guy. It's a good start to the program. How you feeling today?
I'm good. You know why? Because there's an easy bet to be placed on this Panthers-Oilers game one, and we're going to win major plus money on it. So that's one thing I'd like to
So that means you like the Panthers today. You like the Panthers.
I don't just like the Panthers. I like it to go reverse puck line. I like to lay a goal and a half. I think Florida's going to get out to a hot start, and we're going to celebrate here because we're going to win early.
All right, so, and I agree with you, actually. So we're going to get to that. Also, I broke down the Paul George trades. And what do I mean by that? How did we get here with the Pacers and Thunder? One answer, Paul George. So we'll kind of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon becomes the 6 degrees of Paul George. With
so the 76ers are about 2 years away from getting to the finals, is what you're saying.
I think you might be onto something. Also, you told me that Cam Ward said Calvin Ridley's a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. So that got us to thinking. Who are the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL right now? Because after you get past 3, it gets dicey.
It's hard.
It gets dicey. What a day. Now, let's walk through the position I'm in. Because I look to my left, and we got full lines. Do they want to talk about the Panthers up in Edmonton? No, they do not. Do they want to talk about the Metsies here at Dodger Stadium? Nope, they do not. Do they want to talk about me on my way out? Nope, they do not. Do they want to talk about the top 5 wide receivers? No. Or Paul George? No. I'm looking to my left because that's where the phone calls are coming in, and I see they want to talk about Sassy Pants. Now, what would you advise me to do? You are co-host / producer of this program. Now, I'm not going to listen to you, but what would you advise?
Well, we are in a dicey predicament. Now, you make the decisions. I'm just kind of along for the ride here for being
How dare
honest
you hide
with everyone.
behind that? How dare you hide? That is so passive-aggressive, I can't even tell you.
What I'd say is it's a dangerous – because there is a portion of how we are viewed – based on call volume, and do we get people calling into the show?
That's old school.
Then what about, let me throw another one at you. This is what the people want to talk about. Part of our job is to talk about what they want to talk about.
Okay, I'll ask you this. What did the other shows do?
They did a mix of some Thibodeau. There was a little bit of hockey sprinkled in.
No,
but
I'm
the
saying
majority,
it was Sass.
But the majority it was people just complaining that or loving the move, but mostly complaining about the move.
All right, so here's what I'll do. Because unless there are bets to make right now, let's just take a look quickly. Any bets coming up over our job, VSiN Live, and you can go to VSiN.com, read up. You can subscribe now for $9, VSiN.com/subscribe. Bet college baseball. You can bet the horses at Belmont this weekend, baseball all night, the NBA, NHL. Yes. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Promo code SIRIUS. So that is out of the way. Are there any games that you need to bet over the next couple of minutes here?
No, we are at 4:16. A bunch of games just got underway right before we hit the air. The next game, not until bottom of the hour. Rangers and Rays, and I'll tell you this: I back Tampa Bay -130.
Okay, good job by you. So it's 4:16 my time. I will take the calls just because I think it's the right thing to do until 4:30. So I'm going to do 14 minutes, now 13 minutes of calls because it's still, like I said, family. And family should be able to opine. So, but may I ask a question? You guys know me. We're friends. Can you just be nice? Ryan Smith said, is it just me or does Patrick sound robotic? It could be me or it could be the microphone.
It's the connection. We're working on it. No, we're working on it.
We're working on it, peeps. What's it sound like, big guy?
It's doing the garble thing, but it's like mostly good. It was just for a moment it cut out majority, but you sound okay now.
All right. So I'll open up the calls. 888-623-3646. Let's see if we can start with a voice of reason, and that would be our friend Bill in Chevy Chase. Hey, Bill.
Hey, guys. Guys, I'm always nice, right?
You are nice. You are, but be nice. Be nice. Go ahead.
Of course. And I even told the producer I was going to be nice. And I am. Look, I full disclosure, I remember the first day Michelle and Cody were on. I listened to them. It was awful. I remember at the end of the show, Cody, he was all like pumped up. This was great. And I don't think they got a single call the whole day. And Michelle actually goes, no, it wasn't. And I thought, boy, this isn't going to last a month. And I didn't really listen, but I gave them a chance. So I am one of those people, and I came to like them very much. And
good.
But I had a pretty good relationship with them, as I do with a lot of people, other hosts.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed to see them going. I know it's business. It's not personal. I understand. But I do wonder about Stephen A. Smith. Because there's two aspects to this. There's one is the Michelle and Cody going, and two, there's Stephen A. Smith coming. And they're not, they're linked, but they can also be viewed separately. And by the way, I know nobody wants to hear, even though they do at one level, they know with suggestions from the callers, they don't really want them, and the people who are making these decisions aren't going to pay any attention to them anyway. But one thing nobody has said is, what about giving Michelle and Cody the weekend afternoons, the weekend playbook? Again, there's schedules, there's this, there's that, there's a million reasons I'm sure why it won't happen. And, while I guess people say, well, okay, maybe I will be not nice for a moment, that woman who's on there now is absolutely awful. She knows nothing.
Bill. Come on. I respect everybody's opinion, but we got just try to keep it on the up and up. And you highlighted it perfectly. Michelle and Cody started. You thought it was horrible, and then you end up ingratiating. You end up liking the program, and I think that's what happens with change. Eventually, you get used to it. It sucks. I don't like to see people that I know and don't know affected in any industry. So certainly my thoughts go out to Michelle and Cody. I don't know either of them. I just know I did a hit with them, and I was completely overblown by the energy in a good way. But that's all I know. Let's see. We'll just take a few more. Again, I'm going to the bottom of the hour, and then we're going right back to sports. But it would be derelict on my part to pretend any other thing is happening.
Is that Stephen
today.
A. word? Derelict?
Yeah, right. It's literally the biggest announcement in media. So, and it happens to affect.
Is there a bigger name in sports?
Is there a bigger name in sports?
Is there a bigger name in sports?
You'd be hard-pressed. You'd be hard-pressed. Marty is in California here on VSiN Live. Hi, Marty.
Yeah, what up, guys?
Hey.
Hey, you know what the craziest thing is? It's like you've said a couple times, like, people don't like change, but we're not getting that. We're not getting that. We know what we're getting with Stephen A. Like, we know if we're not getting some new person. We know exactly what Stephen A. brings to every platform he brings. It's going to be a lot of LeBron versus Jordan. Baseball is dead. We're not going to talk about that anymore. It's literally an hour after First Take. So what's the show? Second Take? That's what we're calling it?
Is that the name of the show? Is that real? Because that's not bad.
It's not a bad name.
Hey, boys, we're like an hour after he goes live.
That is good alliteration. I'm not gonna lie. You might have just done some programming, Marty, and didn't know you were doing it. Listen again. Being genuine, everybody has an opinion. You're more than welcome to it. Where I'll disagree is I don't think it's gonna be the LeBron. Dog doesn't like the LeBron versus Jordan shtick, and Stephen A. Smith knows that he's coming to Dog's turf. He's not going to do that. He's smart enough to go the other way. He's not going to do that. Just know that. Let's see. This one says praise for me. I'll take that call. Why not? My man Kyle. What up, Kyle?
Yo, hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. Okay, so I'll give Stephen A. chance, right? For me, I'm not a big ESPN guy, so I don't love it. But I will say this: he better take calls because I want to see what he's made of with the listeners. Because I think that's for me, that's a huge thing with Mad Dog, right? Is the engagement
Absolutely.
with the callers. It gives you something fresh, right? You get real takes in the moment, the whole deal. So if he's going to take callers, I'll listen. I don't need double dipping after Mad Dog. I don't know why the hell we're doing that. I hope you guys stick around. But
me too.
But yeah, so I know you're not going to answer the future of what you guys got going on over there. I really hope y'all stick around. But
you might have
for
the
me, he better be taking calls. That's all I got.
He'll take calls. No, he'll take calls. Listen, here's one thing that it takes time. Dustin learned the lesson very quickly as a co-host. He had a hard time handling the calls.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
In fact,
it's
I think
a
he
lot
deleted
to
shows because
hold back.
I think shows were deleted because of it. They don't want to have that up there. I got you, big guy. Trust me. You think I'm stupid?
Stop. You think I know how to do that?
The calls are necessary because that's what this whole entire foundation is built on. He will take calls, and you are allowed to say and do whatever you want. That I'm giving the big guy a hard time, but that is where when people call and trigger you, you have to be able to handle it. And we'll see if I'm sure Stephen A. Smith will be able to handle it.
And how about the other end of the spectrum? This audience knows their stuff, and I'm sure there's a lot of them who see Stephen A., who's known as the best sports debater out there. He has been the best that we've ever seen. Here's your opportunity to go toe-to-toe with Stephen A. on his show.
That's a good point.
Taking calls.
All I can tell you is I started in 2013 on the network, and for the first 2 months, all that happened was people just told me that what the biggest piece of ass I was. I mean, I'm telling you, it was call after call forever. And then when we said goodbye, it was full lines of people saying, we're sad to see you go. That is not a flex. That's just the natural progression of getting to know somebody, hopefully in some way feeling like you have some feelings built up. Maybe you call, maybe you listen and don't call. All of that is what this is all about. It's an intimate, radio is a very intimate medium where you feel like you get to know people. I feel like I get to know a lot of you, to be honest with you. I mean, when I first came back here after many years, the voices, immediately I was just like, yes, I recognize every single voice from the past. That's just the way it is. It's pretty cool.
And to be clear, the people who called in at the beginning and thought you were a piece of S, we're not saying they were wrong. It's just they called back later to say they'll miss you.
Well, they did use some derogatory terms that I can just confirm. I like women. But it's okay to assume that I don't. And that's what I'm sure that's what I said at the time.
Happy Pride.
Let's see. What time is it? 25, so 5 more minutes, and then we have to jump over to the sports peeps. So I just want you to know that. Mike in the OC, people know Mike.
Oh, my God. I'm sure. Okay, hold on. Wait a second. I don't know where to start.
Just
let's
speak,
start
brother.
Hold on here. You always drop hints. And the first time you left, you dropped all these hints, and I said, you're leaving. You go, no, and then you left. This time around, now you're talking about, I got 20 shows left. I'm leaving in June.
Mike, I'll just tell you this. I don't want to leave.
What the hell are you talking about?
Mike, I'll tell you right now, straight up, I don't want to leave. Sometimes things are out of your power.
What do you mean? You just got here.
What did you
All
think
right, let's go
about
over the schedule.
what did you think about Stephen A. Smith?
Me.
What did you think about
Stephen A. Smith's going to be on? By the way, it's absolutely horrendous for Cody and Michelle. They've been fantastic. This is what you want, a fun show. Okay, he's going to be on Pacific time, if I got this right. 10 to 12, right before Russo. Then he comes back on to Patrick. Why are they doing a replay? Mad Dog doesn't do replays during the day. What are they doing here? Cutting quarters now? Paying Stephen A. zillions? That'll be on 3 to 5. You guys are on at 4. That's cutting into your time. Is this what you're talking about? This is
I
the
don't
problem?
know. Honestly, I don't know. You know who I learned the news from? Dustin Swedelson.
You don't know what?
I don't know anything.
What?
Do you know who I learned the news
I
from?
text
Ready?
Justin, Justin, what's up?
You know who I learned the news from? Jai Shields, the caller.
Yeah, I learned this morning from because apparently Stephen A. went on Howard Stern and announced it, and that's where we sit. That's okay. He has a right to do it. I don't know. I'm only doing it for 3 more minutes, so let's get as many as we can in here. Los Angeles, Travis. Hi, Travis.
Okay, I'm ashamed to admit that Mike and the OC just took a point that I was going to make. But I think that it would be a real shame, and I know that it's not set in stone. It would be a real shame to have a replay show and punt on live programming in the middle of a sports day. And to the extent that might be the reason you guys aren't going to be on Mad Dog anymore, that really sucks. And I know it might be trite, Patrick, but I am big fans of your guys, and it'll be sad to see you go.
It's kind of you. Thank you very much. Listen, I don't know what the future holds, and that's all I should say. I don't know what the future holds, but I don't really put much thought into it. I don't put much worry. I don't put much trepidation. I don't put much nervousness. Like, people don't want me. Somebody else will. And I'm a competitor. So that's all I can tell you. You don't want me? Somebody else will. And I'm coming full guns blazing, brother. That's for the big guy. Now, the big guy will stay. He'll stay.
I do what I'm told. Everyone knows that.
We had a meet. Here's a Babchick nugget, because Babchick always texts me this. You guys will like this. So when this is back in 2013, Steve Cohen was there, Evan Cohen was there, I think Steve Torrey was there, Brian Hamilton was there, and Babchick was there. And it was there was so much drama going into launching the show and what they were going to call the show. And I was like, I literally don't care what you call the show. I don't care about any of it. I just want to do a show. So you guys pick the name. And they were in there and they were just fun. They were yelling and they were mad and there was tensions flaring. And I just stood up and walked out. I just didn't have the bandwidth, not because I'm a dick. I just didn't have the bandwidth to deal with it all anymore. And I looked at Babchick on the way out, and he looked at me, and he texted me like 2 minutes later. He's like, "I'll stay. You go." and in the end, Babchick now, 12 years later, texts me all the time. He'll just text me randomly if he's drinking. He'll just say, "I'll stay. You go."
So he texts you every night. Every night, "I'll stay. You go."
He said, "I'll stay." Because I was just like, what, are you going to sit here? This is a ridiculous meeting. And I love all those people. I still have great relationships with all those people. But, yeah, I'll stay. And then you go.
And then they did indeed name the show The Wrap. And then when the time changed, the other meeting was, what do we call the show? And we just took the W off The Wrap.
Did we? I didn't even know we did that.
Yeah. It was The Wrap without a W. We went from
to The Wrap. My name, it was going to be a night show. I was going to call it Don't Sleep.
I like it.
Don't sleep. They hated it. And I just said, it's just an idea. And they said, and then Steve Cohen said, we're going to call it The Wrap because you're wrapping up the day. And I said, hey, sounds good to me.
Did you have to pay Bobby Valentine any copyright fees? Because he did invent The Wrap.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I said, it sounds good to me. You guys call it whatever the hell you want to call it. But I can't sit here any longer. My brain is going to die. And I might physically pass away. So I'll take one more, and then we will. It looks like Al's just literally. That's Jacob. Yeah. He's probably just having a conversation with Jacob.
Yeah.
So
we could put
Al, that's the reason you're not getting on. I just want to let you know. Robert in San Jose. Hey, Robert.
Hey, guys. So,
hey.
I've been a subscriber since 2005, and I got into it because I wanted to listen to Howard. But I will say that I have stuck with it because of Mad Dog Radio. I don't listen to Howard anymore. It's just too much.
That's great.
So for the last, I would say maybe 12 years, it's been pretty constant that I listen. I start with, I'm, out here in California, so I start a little bit after Shine. But, when Beadle and Decker got on, I, like Bill, I didn't care for them. I was a little disappointed that Danny and
Danny and Steve did a great job. I agree.
Dusty, yeah, and even Danny and Dusty, right after that, right?
Sure.
They did that, and I was sad when you left. When
Thank
you were gone. I remember when you were. I don't know if you remember this night, but it was funny. You're a funny guy, but you were out here or in Vegas, and they were having the big steak dinner at Maestro's in New York, and you were like.
I remember.
Yeah, that was a good night. I was making dinner at that time, and I'm just listening to you talk about this dinner that you didn't go to, or you couldn't get there, whatever the case was. But bottom line, you're right. I mean, change is difficult for people. It's a business. People. It's a business. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. And
Robert, I know your voice for years and years. That's what I'm telling you. That's the uniqueness of this network. So everybody, just take a deep breath. I'll do it quickly. Al, you're gonna be nice. You were mean to Steve. Are you gonna be nice to me? I didn't do anything.
When am I not nice to you?
I didn't do anything. I love your son. I love you. Come on, just be nice to me.
I know you love 25, by the way, and
insane.
killing it in his first job.
Good job. Good job. Glad to hear that.
So proud of him, and every time I talk to him, when I've spoken to you, I tell him every time that you send your regards. He gets such.
Yeah, I do. You know that.
Yeah, he thinks you're incredibly cool, and he loves the big guy. So my
is his place hiring?
The other thing I didn't like at all was, for him to go on, Stephen A., and make this announcement, whether he had permission to do it, whatever, without them knowing. It certainly seems like that was the case, because when they came on today, they were totally, completely shocked, taken aback by it. So the fact that management didn't advise them, and that's the way they had to find out that they were out of a job, I thought was completely unprofessional. And if they gave him permission to do that, and he didn't say make sure they know about it first, I think that's completely unprofessional and disrespectful for the people you're going to be replacing. And I don't think that's, not nice for me to say. That's what I believe. And it doesn't matter who that host was. It could have been, Cody and Michelle and Cody and Michelle. It could have been Joe Blowhole. It doesn't matter who it is. When you're taking somebody's job, they should have the opportunity to find out from the people who are making that decision, not finding out from the guy who's taking your job. So I thought that was incredibly poor taste and very disrespectful.
I know. Here's what I would say. I think lines got crossed. Everybody, including management, did the best they could. Stephen A. did the best they could. Obviously, Michelle and Cody, the best they could. Let's just leave it there. You guys know, I'll be real with you. I can't continue because we got to do a sports betting show. So, but I did want to make sure that first half hour gave some thoughts. Hopefully settled you down a little bit. Took a few calls. Hopefully the big guy's feeling better. I hope so, because I got to get through 2.5 hours with him. I hope he's calmed down a little bit, nervous system regulation type of thing. You good?
Yeah,
his mic's not even on.
I need to tell you. I was trying to text hotline.
Wait, is this real? Is this real?
I confirmed in my contacts that is his number. Yes.
Okay, let me just explain. And I told you this at the beginning. Stephen A. Smith didn't know me from Adam, and I was on late, and I just used to clown around. And he won't remember this, but I had like a fake conversation with him, and he had like billions of people on Twitter. He retweeted the clip. The guy's a down-ass dude. He's like a good dude. He's a loyal dude. And he's not going to come on and just he's not going to do First Take on Mad Dog Sports Radio. He's too smart for it. And you know how I know? Because he's going to tell you right now himself. My man, Stephen A. Smith. Hey, Stephen.
Good evening, fellas. How are you? How's everything?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great.
I wanted to call in because I'm doing something that I have never done before. Usually I don't respond to callers that, call up with assertions or whatever, but I respected the caller and where they was coming from when the caller talked about how Stephen A. Smith made an announcement today and people didn't know. I want to state for the record, just so everybody knows what kind of man I am and what kind of teammate I am. I had no idea that folks did not know. I was told by SiriusXM to wait until this morning on the Howard Stern show to make the announcement. Whatever communication they've had with anybody who's there, where they're staying, where they're being moved to, who's staying, who's going, or whatever, is none of my business. But let me be very, very clear. It would always be my concern, because I would never in a million years be unprofessional and inconsiderate of a contemporary or a colleague if somebody was not made aware of my arrival, meaning the people that directly would be impacted by my arrival on SiriusXM. It is something I would have made sure of. So I just want to let anybody out there who is listening, along with you all, know I'm proud to be back. I'm happy to be back and to be a part of the team. But that operative word is team. The people that I work with are my teammates, and I don't do stuff like that. Whatever management and the bosses at SiriusXM have decided to do is their business. That has nothing to do with me. But as it pertains to what has to do something with me, that is not something I would ever do. And that's all I wanted to call it.
Let me just follow it. People would be concerned that it would be first take into second take. I know you. You're going to come on.
Ain't gonna happen.
It's not going to happen.
Ain't gonna happen. And I've done radio. I've done radio at Fox. I've done radio at ESPN. I've done radio at SiriusXM, and I've never been accused of doing first take on radio. Never. And that won't happen now.
Are you going to talk relationships? Because I like when you talk relationships.
I might, but you got to remember, Mad Dog Sports Radio is a sports platform.
I got
It's
you.
a sports show. And my show on POTUS would be about stuff like that. It would be out social commentary, politics, pop culture, and entertainment. Who knows? That's a no-holds barred, where everything beyond sports is open season. So who knows what the hell I would do with that. But
Okay, but as I say goodbye, just to be clear, you're a good dude, a great teammate. There was no intent to hurt anybody's feelings. That's obvious.
No, I didn't have any problem with anything y'all said at all. I didn't have a problem with anything that the caller said, because the caller is absolutely right if that's the way things went down. All I'm trying to say is that anybody that's in this business, when a new opportunity arrives and it's a big enough deal where folks want to make an announcement, they instruct you where and when they would like you to do it. You're under the assertion and the assumption that people who preceded you are fully aware of all things that are going on, because their business isn't pertinent to you, and your business isn't necessarily relevant to them. So as a result, you're thinking that management is dealing with them and communicating accordingly. Mad Dog Russo knew. Of course, I let him know. But outside, I didn't tell anybody publicly. I didn't make any announcement until first take today, and that was after I did Howard Stern. Why do you think that happened? Because that's the way the company wants. We all work for somebody. No matter how we try to be independent and Maverick style and all of that, we all answer to somebody. I was asked to make the announcement on Howard Stern on this day and this date. That's all I was aware of. So I just wanted to make sure that callers and listeners out there knew. That's who I am. That's my character. I don't believe in blindsiding anybody or backstabbing anybody. You see me coming. I don't sit up there and apologize for anything that who I am, what I stand for, and what I do. I don't roll like that. I would never, with my contemporaries or colleagues, just do something and be so insensitive where I know they didn't know and I decided to go on the air and announce it anyway. I would never do that. I was instructed to do it on this day and this time on Howard Stern's show, and it was my belief that everybody was aware internally of what was coming. I had no knowledge that people were caught by surprise. That has absolutely, positively nothing to do with me. And that's all I wanted to make sure it was clear. That's it.
Listen, welcome back. It's exciting. It's a
All
big
right.
day. Thank you, brother, for calling.
Thank you so much for having me. Y'all take care.
Okay. All right. Stephen A. Smith. It's VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Sounds like it's even money on the Panthers right now. Listen, we've made it clear we're going to be betting the Panthers. I know that's not what you're concerned with right now. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. This would be a good opportunity to let you know you can pick up that newsletter, VSiN.com/newsletter. It's free, no obligation. Bill A.D. killing it with the newsletter. Go check that out every day. Inbox. Dustin Swedelson. I'm Patrick Meagher. So Stephen A. Smith calls in. Now, at least admit this. The guy's got millions. I mean, we're close to billions. He's got relationships that we couldn't even dream of. And he called two idiots to not even defend himself, but to make sure people understood that's not his character. So like I said, lines were crossed. Of course, you don't hope for that to happen to Michelle and Cody. But Stephen A. Smith, he could be doing whatever the hell he wants right now, but he chose to call the program. and let people know exactly what was happening from his perspective and the truth. And so at least you have to give him credit for doing that, and I do. I told you. He knows me. He didn't even use my name. He doesn't know who the hell I am, nor do I care. But I can tell you this. I was on the network when he was on the network, and the only thing that people said is, that dude is a good teammate. He's a good person. He's nice to everybody. So maybe just think about, don't be so quick to judge others. That's what I would say. I know you know Stephen A. I know you know what his takes. You see him on ESPN. That's the crazy thing. People get a lot of success, and that's when people start to hate on him. People get successful, and then all of a sudden people want to just absolutely just torch him, take him down, pick him apart. Hey, he said this one time. Hey, he said this the other time. If we added up all my misgivings and the times I've messed up with facts on this program, trust me, we'd be here for a year. So, that's what we do. We give opinion, and I thought that's a pretty good dude calling in to clarify. So good job by Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, just let you know, no malicious intent. He was doing what he was told, going on Stern, announcing on SiriusXM that he's doing the show, coinciding same day with Doggy on First Take, and I've never interacted with Stephen A., including the conversation just happened, because I knew better than to get involved in that. I knew you could handle it without me. But the one time I did see him in public, I would say this, it was clinching game of the 2018 NBA Finals, I think it was, Warriors and Cavs. And there's a whole crew of people, and they're all running to go get someone's take on what's happening right now. Everyone's running to this one person in the tunnel. Is it Steph Curry? Is it LeBron James? Is it Draymond Green? No. It was Stephen A. The person people wanted pictures with was Stephen A. I want to be clear about that.
Think about what you think. Think about what you want to think about him. Have your opinion either way. The career is turning into an all-timer. Listen. I'm a 47-year-old man that's going through a negotiation right now. You quickly learn how people value you. Let me just be and my agent's listening right now. Let me be very clear. To get to a position like Stephen A. Smith is, where you tell people what your value is, and they just say, yes, sir, that's a pretty good spot. And so I'm never going to denigrate anybody that's got that type of positioning and that type of power. He got there for a reason, and I'm where I'm at for a reason, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
I'm still riding those coattails as far as it'll take me.
Hey, I hear you. We'll come back with the hockey picks. Settle into a regular program. I apologize. We did 40 minutes, so I got to take another quick break. But we're coming back. We'll give you the plays. We'll take your calls, 888-623-3646. This is VSiN Live. And VSiN should be happy because VSiN is going to be following Stephen A. Smith. Fellas, pay attention. That's a big deal. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
about, it's probably the puck is going to drop after 5 my time, 8 o'clock your time, East Coast. But this is going to be the 12th rematch in Stanley Cup Final history. It is only the second rematch in the last 40 years. The last time we had a rematch in the Stanley Cup Final was the Red Wings and Pittsburgh Penguins in 08-09. So there's some history to this Panther-Oiler rematch. And again, it was a cracker last year. Started off in Florida. Florida wins 1-2, goes to Edmonton, wins game 3. And then out of nowhere, Edmonton wins game 4, 5, and 6. And then a 2-1 win, Stanley Cup for Florida down in Sunrise last year. So the hope would be for Edmonton that they reverse it with home ice this year. I'll say this, Florida does return 14 players, and 14 are expected to play from last year's Cup team. The Oilers, 16 players coming back, 13 expected to play from last year's Cup team. What does that mean? I think both teams are better. I think additions on both sides make them a little bit better. And also we have Skinner, who played well in the postseason last year. Skinner, all of a sudden, after being benched, is on one. So Bobrovsky, Skinner, obviously the two best players in the series are McDavid and Draisaitl. But then when you start picking players, you start looking to Florida, and they are freaking loaded. Two offensive teams that can also defend at this point. I think it's a great series. I do like Florida in the series.
Yeah, and game one's going to be massive. And what's fascinating with this matchup, Edmonton 6-1 in the postseason at home, outscoring opponents 33-17. Panthers better on the road, 8-2 on the road, outscoring opponents 48-21. Teams that win game one of the Stanley Cup Final have gone on to win 76.5% of the time. That's 65-20. And the percentage goes up 83.9 if it's the home team winning game one. So if Edmonton wins game one at home, very likely to go on and win it. However, I don't think that's happening. I like Florida tonight. I like Florida to win the series. And because I like Florida tonight, I'm going to lay the puck line -1.5 on the underdog at a big plus over 2-1 price, because you go back and look in the playoffs, underdogs have covered the alternate puck line in 20 of their 30 victories. That, according to Jonathan Davis over at VSiN.com.
Well, how good are McDavid and Draisaitl? McDavid leads the playoffs with 26 points, followed by Draisaitl with 25 points. It's a pretty good 1-2 And we were having the conversation last night with Samit, just like, I don't know if, and maybe you guys can answer this, 888-623-3646. Like, I don't know in sports a person in Draisaitl's position. I really don't. Where you potentially are the best player in the NHL, you just happen to be behind the generational talent. Because Draisaitl, maybe McKinnon with Colorado, but Draisaitl is right there as the second best player living on the planet playing hockey. But McDavid is just that good.
Yeah, and based on everything I'm seeing about McDavid, is that dude's locked in, understanding, legacies are on the line with this series. Getting that cup puts him into a different stratosphere all time in the NHL big picture. And you have to give Edmonton some credit in the fact that this is a hungry team wanting to get revenge on last year, and they learned from last year, learned what not to do. And a lot of this series comes down to the dude in net for them, honestly. It's Skinner. Stuart Skinner was benched at one point a couple series ago. If you go back and look, he actually had a better save percentage in the Cup Final last year than Bobrovsky did, and he's been up and down, but he's been awesome of late. He seemed to have figured something out during the VGK series. If he keeps that going here, he gives Edmonton a chance against the reigning champs.
I got Florida even money right now. That shows you the respect, because Edmonton hasn't lost a game in ever. Like, Edmonton dominated Dallas. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I did not see the domination of Dallas. I mean, Dallas went through a phase where 3 games they scored 2 goals.
Yeah,
so
Dallas
Edmonton's defense
loaded.
is stepping up.
Yeah, Dallas was loaded, and a little bit of money from yesterday today coming in on Florida, where the number did shorten up just slightly. We opened with Edmonton -125, plus 105 the other way on the Panthers. It's now even money, so it's a slight movement, but it does show you that people are backing Florida on the road to win game one. That's why I'm going money line with you, and I'm going puck line.
All right, it's a family bet. Florida You know what we are, if not nothing, about America. No offense, Canada, but this is our turf, although it's being played in Canada. You understand. Aaron Halterman next. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, it is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, an eventful hour one. You can always check out the SiriusXM app and go back and listen. We had a surprise call from Stephen A. Smith on the program, who is now going to be part of Mad Dog Sports Radio. Big announcement today. So we appreciate Stephen calling in. Genuinely. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Meagher, Eric Williams, Jacob back in New York City, Ryan Smith, YouTube, youtube.com/VSiN Live to get involved in the chat. Our biggest guest is not Stephen A. Smith today. It is our next guest. That's Aaron Halterman. That's our buddy, VSiN host, racingdudes.com, handicapper Racing Dudes for all your Belmont information you're going to need. Do you feel any pressure following one, Stephen A. Smith? Are you good?
I'm totally good. No, I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I'll tell you that right off the bat. But this is kind of a drop in class for the listeners, I would say. You had Stephen A. Smith, now you got me. But I'll try to do my best. But no, I'm not intimidated by it, Patrick. I think I can live up to whatever standards that we need to live up to here.
Well, I will say that we value you and just equally. So just so you know,
okay.
No, there is no pecking order here. It's you, Stephen A. Smith, right on the same line. So that is facts. Now,
okay,
you've got me working extra on Friday and Saturday. Aaron, that's on you because VSiN at the track, the road to the Belmont Stakes, which is Friday with Mike Somich, and Aaron Halterman will feature Mike Somich and your boy Patrick Meagher. Because Aaron Halterman is taking his business, racingdudes.com, to the Belmont, and rightfully so. That's what you built your career on. I do appreciate you letting me sit in. I can't do what you do when it comes to the horses, but what we know is the Belmont is going to be freaking awesome. because I think we're starting to realize, of course, we've got two great ones in Sovereignty and Journalism, but we might be sleeping on a little horse named Baeza, who was a freaking monster with a bad trip in the Kentucky Derby. There might be three great horses in this race.
You're not wrong. I was talking to John White. John White's the guy that made the morning line at Santa Anita for 100 years, it feels like, and just retired last year. But he is a racing historian. He's forgotten more about racing than we'll ever know. And I was talking to him about the excitement level of this Belmont. And he said, you know what, forget about, other than the Triple Crowns, because that's a different story. But he said, this is like the most excited I've ever been for a Belmont that doesn't have a Triple Crown on the line in like 20 or 30 years. And I was like, wow, that is really cool. And you said it, we do have the headliners. And I think Dustin said a couple of weeks ago, it's like the one versus the one. You've got Sovereignty winning the Kentucky Derby, and you've got Journalism winning the Preakness. Now they're going to have that rematch there here in the Belmont Stakes. So that's super exciting. But I'm glad that you talked about Baeza a little bit as well. I'll talk about him. He finished third in the Kentucky Derby, but you got to realize that was just his second race against Stakes Company and just a very lightly raced horse. Now, here's the thing about Baeza you got to remember. He was a late foal, and what that means is he was born later into the year than some of these other horses. Now, all horses turned 3 on January 1st, but that's not their actual birthday, right? So a lot of these horses are born in February and March, where Baeza was a May foal. So he is developing as we go along quicker now because was just younger. And so he really has a right to improve. And oh, by the way, if he does improve, he just barely lost to Journalism in the Santa Anita Derby, and he just barely lost from getting second, I should say, in the Kentucky Derby. So if he just improves just a little bit, he's right there with a big chance as well. And what is he going to look like this summer as well if he keeps like kind of progressing like he's doing? So it's really a big 3, not a big 2 when you look at this field.
Yeah, Aaron, it feels like the conventional wisdom is Sovereignty rests, right, while Journalism runs in the Preakness. Is there any chance Sovereignty, the break, may actually be a disadvantage for the horse? I know we talk about the rest, but, like, is there any chance it's hard for him to get back up and going at the Belmont?
He should be okay. I don't see it being a disadvantage. I think with Sovereignty, the reports I'm hearing is he's kind of full of himself right now. He's got a lot of energy. I think his disadvantage here versus the Derby will be the pace of the race. It was a very fast, hot pace up front. A lot of speed horses went really fast in the Derby, and that helps it set up for a horse that comes from way off the pace like Sovereignty. Now, the one thing I will say, I've been monitoring Journalism quite a bit because he does have this third race coming up in 5 weeks. He looks extremely sharp. And Maggie Wolfendale, the paddock host at Naira at Saratoga, she was talking about Journalism today. She's got a very sharp eye for horses when it comes to how they're working out in the mornings. And she said, you would never know this horse is coming in third race in 5 weeks. He looks tremendous. So I think they both, and she talked about Sovereignty kind of the same kind of way as well, but she was a little surprised, I think, at the energy level from Journalism. So by the sounds of the experts that kind of look at this day in and day out, I think both of these horses are primed and ready to go, and that's all we could really hope for.
I'm going to come back to the horses, but the puck hasn't dropped yet. Florida, right around even money-ish tonight. Who are you on?
Gosh, this is going to be something, guys. I took Florida. I think they were. I think they're even money now. Actually, I think they were plus 110 a little bit earlier in the week. Now they're even money. Yep. Well, there you go. There you go. I hadn't done that in a while, so that's an old school there. But listen, I think with this Florida team, I think the key is they're just so deep. They've got 4 lines that just look identical when you throw them out there. They're all dangerous. They all can score. The key to this series, to me, is. Okay, so when you look at Vegas and you look at Dallas, they got a lot of shots, but they weren't high-quality shots on Skinner. I think that's the key. Can Florida roll their lines, kind of wear out the Edmonton defense, and get more high-quality shots on Skinner? That's going to be the key to this whole thing. If they can, I think they're going to win it. If Edmonton's able to kind of keep them to the outside and keep a lot of shots from the blue line, then I think Edmonton can win it. And I think that's going to be the key matchup to continue to look at throughout the series. I think Skinner will play well for Edmonton. I'm done kind of doubting him, but we know Bravosky is the better overall goalie for Florida. So I do think they have an advantage there, but I'm going to go Florida tonight. I've got Florida in the series as well. I think it's going 7 games though.
I just need a vibe on this one because I want to have a bet on first goal scorer. I know it's not a market you Sharpies like to mess around with, Aaron.
Hey.
However, I like Florida, so I'm going to bet on a Panther. And by the way, Patrick and I both agree that Panther, for the state of Florida, to choose a hockey team mascot, Panther's probably like the least inspiring name they could have come up with at the time based on the animal options down there in the Everglades. But would you go Kachuk 13-1 to be the first goal scorer, or maybe someone like Barkov at 18-1?
I wouldn't go Barkov. He's more of a playmaker. I mean, he can score, but I would see him getting the assist on it. Kachuk would make sense. What's Bennett? Do you have the numbers in front of you? What's Sam Bennett's odds?
Sam Bennett, 20-1.
Do him. That's who I would do.
Ooh, I like the confidence from Aaron Halterman.
He's a great player, number one, and he's playing great, number two. So yeah, I would take him. At 20-1 makes sense. I think, Kachuk at 13-1, but he hasn't really been scoring a whole lot. I would take Bennett.
Still plenty of time to bet it. They're doing a lot of pregame stuff. Yeah. No surprise, kicking off the Stanley Cup Final. And I do think there's some Edmonton money coming in because the book I was looking at was Florida minus $1.05. Now it's Florida plus 105. So late money potentially. No surprise, late money coming in on the home team. 6 on the total, which is a bit of a – look, these are two great offensive teams, but you generally, when it all that matters, everything's on the line, you'd probably see a 5.5 here, but these are awesome offenses, Aaron.
They are really good offensive teams, no doubt about it. I do think it's interesting, though, in these playoffs, Edmonton has played a lot more low-scoring games than they're used to playing. So that kind of makes that total a little bit interesting because, really last year when you looked at Edmonton, you're like, hey, they want to play an up-tempo game. They want to get pucks in the net. They all want to get pucks in the net, but they want to play up and down. They want to make it an offensive game. This year, not so much. They've won a lot of 1-0, 2-1, well, not a lot, but just one of the 1-0 games, but 2-1 games as well. So I still kind of lean towards the over because there's just so many dangerous players that are going to be out on the ice. But the style of play and how both teams go about it, I think is kind of a question mark. And I think it'll be really interesting in these first couple games to kind of see what kind of game does each team really want to establish here. Because like I said, Edmonton's been very good this season or this playoff season about winning low scoring games.
My favorite thing about the goalies, by the time they get to the Stanley Cup Final, every single goalie in history has the long flow, and when they put their mask on, they have to do the thing where they flip their hair back to get the mask on. You guys ever notice that?
Yep.
Hockey players don't shave and they don't cut their hair in the playoffs. Kind of lit.
Pubes too.
Like you wouldn't do that, big guy. You're always going to get fades at the barbershop. You couldn't be a hockey player because your teammates would absolutely crush you and just grow out that lettuce. Let it flow.
No. That moment's going to live forever in video. I want to make sure if we win the cup that I look fresh and sweet every time I pull the video up. I don't want to look like a caveman from the Geico commercial.
Yeah, well, you always look fresh and sweet. That's for sure. Halterman always with the tight crop as well. He's a brother in arms with you. Have you ever done anything except the tight up top?
Nope, no. That's it. I'm a simple man, guys. But listen, if I was a hockey player, I would let it grow out because you're not supposed to shave. You're not supposed to do anything while the playoffs were going on. That's just how it is. Now, you probably couldn't tell that I was growing out a beard because I can't really do that very well, but I would try.
A little baby face. Aaron Halterman joining us, racingdudes.com, VSiN host. The players are on the ice. I will say, bucket list would be pick a Canadian team and go watch a Stanley Cup Final in their barn. There has to be so much electricity. I don't even know how to measure. It'd be so much fun.
It would be awesome. Even if it's just a regular playoff game, I feel like they're at another level. I know, I'm sure you guys have been in the buildings here in the United States for playoff games. It's amazing, but it just feels like when you're watching a team in Canada, like Winnipeg looks like just crazy. Edmonton looks crazy when you see that on TV. So yeah, but a Stanley Cup Final game would be insane. Just totally insane. I saw tickets were cheapest one was $600, I think, tonight to get in the building, but it would probably be worth it.
Aaron,
Yeah.
would you be willing to ride with me on the reverse puck line? Just because if they're going to win, we're going to have an empty net situation. Can I get you to do that? -1.5 Florida, +240.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think it's awful. I don't like to do that in these playoff games, but if you are confident that you're going to get that empty net, which means is if you are confident that Florida is kind of going to be the better team, you're not really trying to sweat out, hey, I think it's going to be closer this or that. If you're really sitting here going, you know what, I just think Florida's better, then go ahead and do it because the price is there. +240 does, I mean, that's pretty darn enticing.
Good price.
Yeah, and I mean, Dustin's right. If it's a 2-1 game and there's 2 minutes left, you got 2 minutes of an empty net. That just doesn't happen in the other sports. You know, if you're trying to cover a run and a half in baseball, you don't have that last inning where, they don't have any fielders out there. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it would be like. So
it's not good every time, but in a
Right.
spot where I like the dog, it's just worth a shot. Where I think the dog's in a good spot. They've played well on the road. We've seen Edmonton get off to slow starts in these series. It just feels like everything sets up where this is an opportunity to lay that puck and a half.
Florida's 8-2 on the road.
Yeah, they've been better on the road than at home. So that's why, I didn't really hesitate to bet Florida. A lot of people I don't know, they're on the road. They went to Toronto and dominated them in a crazy atmosphere. They killed Carolina 3 games. They went to Tampa and won games. I mean, they have been really, really good on the road. So that doesn't really bother me. And yeah, look, most of these games that I just rattled off there, Dustin, they did win by more than a goal. So yeah, I get it if you want to go that route.
And by the way, home ice Stanley Cup playoff and just
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Through history, it's not like home wood in the NBA. It's just not. I've been obsessing over Draisaitl. Draisaitl's 29. He's already going to the Hall of Fame. He. If you could argue who did Samich say, McKinnon in Colorado, but the second best player in hockey you could say very much is Leon Draisaitl, but he's got McDavid in front of him. We were having this conversation. It's like, can you think of historically somebody that's that good at their sport, but they just happen to have McJesus right in front of them?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Maybe, back when Gretzky and Messier were on the Oilers, that's kind of what it's like, I guess, a little bit. That's the first thing.
That too.
Yeah.
Samich said that too, but I mean, Gretzky is just so much better than everybody that's ever played the game. I don't know.
Shaq and Kobe?
Yeah.
You could say Shaq and Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
But it is unique. We can all admit that. Draisaitl, it's like to be overshadowed when you're as good as Leon Draisaitl. Just have some fun, go to a Hockey Reference and look up his numbers. But while he's been in the NHL, and it's just insane. And then you look up McDavid's numbers, you're like, okay, now that's really insane.
And it's also why there's a lot of pressure on them in this series to find a way to win a cup, right? They need to win a cup at some point during this run, not just for Canada, their legacies. Aaron, what do you think of McDavid based on watching him, being a big hockey fan? Do you believe he's the type of player, obviously a year ago he won Conn Smythe with his team losing. Do you believe this is a spot where he's ultra aggressive, to try and find a way to hoist the cup?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do think the pressure is on him. I do think you're going to see a gigantic effort out of him. He was unbelievable in the finals last year. If you remember, you guys obviously remember that series was done. It was 3-0 Florida, and McDavid took it over and willed them back into that series, and they almost got it done. So, yeah, I do think there's pressure on him. I do think this is a huge moment because, look, getting to the Stanley Cup Finals, it's a very, very difficult task. You're not just going to do this every year. So if he gets there and he loses again, that doubt of, boy, is he going to do it? Because, it's going to creep in. And maybe that doubt of, can we do it here in Edmonton, will start to creep in, and he's looking elsewhere as well. So I think this is a huge final for McDavid. I think it's a huge final for Edmonton as well. Obviously for Canada to get it would be great for them because it's been so long. But I think you'll see a gigantic effort out of McDavid. I really think you're going to see him at his best. And you've seen it in this playoffs. He's been on another planet already heading into the finals.
Yeah, I remember last year's final being insane and so good. But I had to kind of refresh my memory. It's like Florida wins 1, 2, and 3. Edmonton comes back, wins 4, 5, and 6. And then a Florida 2-1 win in Game 7. that's about as good as a series can be. And those are even teams.
Yeah. And like I said, we were all on Florida and we were laughing like, we knew it. This was so easy. And I remember coming on your show before Game 7 and we were like sick. We were so nervous. And I don't really think we were still supporting Florida at the time, but I don't really think any of us really thought they were winning that game, because when Edmonton turned it on last year, it was just like, oh, you can't beat them. Like, remember they were winning like just blowout scores, just killing them. Yep. And I was like, oh, this could be bad. But yeah, that was an unbelievable Game 7. It was a 2-1 score, but it was so intense. It was just incredible. And the Panthers were able to keep McDavid off the score sheet in Game 7, and they were able to win the game because they were able to do that.
Just a great tradition in Edmonton happening right now, where a Viking bald guy sings the national anthems, but they highlight all the peeps around him. And when they drop into the greatest national, and I'm sorry, America, but the Canadian national anthem is a freaking slapper. And when they break into it and he just stops singing and the whole entire barn starts singing the national anthem, if you don't get goosebumps, no tariff. But if you don't get goosebumps when that's going down, you ain't living, brother.
And to be clear, this is a big America show. We've won patriotism awards for sports talks.
And non-racist awards.
And non-racist as well. We're very progressive. Good. But we all have to admit, Aaron, Patrick and I are in agreement. The Canada national anthem, superior to the American national anthem.
Hold on. Can you guys hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Let's listen to the crowd. Hold on.
Here it comes, right here.
Hey.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, keep going. Here it comes. Here it comes. God. And free. Oh, Canada. Stand on guard. Hold on. Here comes the ending.
This is the best part.
Effing banger.
And now we're going to sing a song about a guy named Jose.
No, the visitors go first, so they already did the American national anthem. I'm telling you, that gave me goosebumps. Whoever wrote that, I don't know what Canadian donk wrote that, but he knows. It must have been. That's like Michael Jackson writing up there. Beyonce, maybe she wrote it. Who wrote the national anthem in Canada, Dustin?
I have it. Calixa Lavalle.
Yeah,
well, sure.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's who composed it. Words were written by poet and judge Sir Adolphe. Can't name people Adolphe anymore. Basile Routier.
I might as well have been Bob Dylan. I mean, he was close to Canada. I mean, he's just a singer-songwriter. Whoever wrote that in their bag.
Fun facts. Originally written in French, and the lyrics were translated to English in 1906.
All right.
Oh, and then here we go. Multiple English versions ensued, with Robert Stanley Weir's 1908 version looking like that is the one that we all know that's the most popular.
All right. There you go.
So a lot of people in the mix.
There you go. A little history. And the puck is dropped. Stanley Cup Final 2025 underway. We are on the Panthers, and it has nothing to do with America. I just think they're a little bit deeper.
Yep.
I don't think they're intimidated, obviously, 8-2 on the road. But this is going to be a hell of a series. I'd be shocked, Aaron Halterman, if it doesn't go 6. Shocked.
Yeah. 6 or 7 for sure. I'm with you on that one. Maybe 6. If the Panthers get ahead, they can kind of close it out on a game 6. But it's going to be awesome. And you're right. I could see it going either way. Like, it's going to be close. But I'm with you. The Panthers are a little bit deeper, just a little bit. And I think that's in a 7-game series. I think it'll finally come back to bite Edmonton. But it's going to be awesome.
And they're pressing early. They just got a shot on Skinner. Skinner looked a little squirrely, but did deflect the shot. McDavid, his first shift is over. Man, this is good stuff. Now, your Oklahoma City Thunder open up tomorrow. Is it still 9.5, boys? I mean, they're like $7 favorites in the series. It does appear it's just a mere formality. Is it 5? Do they sweep them? Where are you?
Oh, I think it's going to be a little bit harder than 4 or 5 games. I think it's going to go 6. I could see Indiana being kind of tough to beat at home. I could see him getting back in games 3 and 4 and trying to make a series out of this thing. But I think the key to this whole thing is, oddly enough, the Thunder defense, I think, is going to be the difference maker. I think both of these offenses can score. I think both these offenses are going to go up and down the court, but I think the Thunder defensively a little bit better. I think the home advantage is really, really going to help as well. So I think Thunder in 6, and I do think the Thunder jump out to a huge lead and have a really strong game 1.
Well, we've got a 1-0 lead. Edmonton is on Draisaitl with the opener. Leon Draisaitl, who I've been jocking. They got a deflection from Bobrovsky. Draisaitl made no mistakes with it. Top shelf, a heater.
Ultra aggressive. They had sweaters around the net ready for that. Missed shot, swatted down, boom,
hey, puck on
Draisaitl.
Here's what I would say, boys.
Wow.
We're a minute and a half in. Now's the time to bet Florida. Let's see the price.
Let's go with plus 190 on Florida.
Ooh, there you go.
Not as much as I thought.
That's enough, though.
I mean, dude,
it is enough.
We're a minute into this thing and they just scored. That is not good vibes. That is not good vibes.
Florida's not gonna. They're not gonna be rattled.
Yeah,
they're gonna be fine.
Yep.
They're already getting pucks on net the other way. Skinner looks a little off.
Well, we didn't even look way off here because we laid a puck and a half.
You relax, like you said, a minute and like 3 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
Draisaitl, though, I'm sure do you see it, Aaron? He had an opportunity with the deflected. Bobrovsky didn't handle it, and he just absolutely. Draisaitl is, if he gets that opportunity where loose puck, boom, done.
Oh, yeah.
That place must be going nuts.
Oh, I'm sure it's going crazy. And yeah, he's got the quickest. Him and McDavid both have the quickest hands I've ever seen. And you're right. If there's any opportunity, it's in the back of the net. So that's a great start.
All right, I like it. I like the aggressiveness coming back the other way with Florida.
They'll be fine.
They're getting shots on net as well. They're not intimidated down 1-0 in a hole.
They literally just almost scored. This is going to be a barn burner.
Yep.
And hey, I also sprinkled a little bit on that over 6 just because.
Hey, that looks good. We're pacing there. We are pacing for that.
That's hey, Sharps, take it and suck it because I want goals. That's where I'm at. You can have your Sharpie. All right. Well, listen, we're going to miss you. VSiN at the track, road to the Belmont, but racingdudes.com going to have you covered. Are you excited to head to Saratoga?
Oh, I can't freaking wait. I do apologize that it makes you work more, but I can't freaking wait for it. It's my favorite place in the world as far as racetrack goes, or about anywhere, actually. Beautiful place, going to be fun. Can't wait. It's going to be a great race, too. Great racing all day. So, yeah, totally pumped.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. By the way, that work's being done pro bono by your boy on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh.
that is Pro B.
Can we get him a Chick-fil-A coupon or something?
Can you get me a VSiN Pro subscription?
I just use Dustin's login, so maybe he can hook you up.
You deserve one. You are a host on the network. All right. We'll say goodbye. You and Heather, enjoy the hockey. Safe travels to Saratoga. And we'll be following along over at racingdudes.com. Thank you, Aaron.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Okay. See you later, brother. There goes Aaron Halterman, the big guy. Dustin Swedelson, of course, is in the house today. And Edmonton is up 1-0. Draisaitl. What was the number on Draisaitl scoring first?
I believe it was about 9-1, 10-1, somewhere in that range. Or yeah, because him and McDavid were at the top of the boards. They were around the 10-1 range.
I couldn't come up with the word, but the word is he buried it. He had that opportunity off the deflection, and he just made literally just buried the puck. And it was a bouncing puck, too, so it wasn't that easy.
He was like 5 feet out. And when I tell you he hit it so hard 5 feet out that thing was good going through like 7 nets down
he
the
was
line.
That's true. He was making no mistakes. He was going to bury that puck, and he did. All right, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Thank you to Aaron Halterman. When we come back, our buddy Brandon Anderson does a great job breaking down the NBA. So everything you need to know from a betting perspective on the NBA Finals is coming up next here on the program.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, Bennett did have a breakaway for Florida, kind of whiffed on it, but we do have 1-0 lead. Game one up in Edmonton. Draisaitl got on the board first for the Oilers. So 14:09 to play in the first period. Edmonton 1, Florida nothing. As we do welcome you back here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher. We're going to welcome in one of the best doing it when breaking down the NBA. That's Brandon Anderson, the Action Network handicapper at Wheaton Brando on Twitter. And we should start with a flex because if he followed his lead, he handed out a 50-1 winner. Anthony Edwards, Western Conference Final rebound leader. Now, you've been on a heater, but hitting 50-1, that's a nice little score there.
50-1 on a full unit, too. It's not just one of those nibbles you put out there. You know, I had one of my favorite bets 2 years ago, Joe Flacco, comeback player of the year. Just like on a board night, 10th of a unit, put it out there, and then it just randomly hits. Like, you could have fun with that and claim it as a victory lap. This was like an earned victory lap. This was a sweated out, grinded all the way. I mean, I spent 2 weeks of an entire NBA series just watching the rim and where's the ball going to go off the rim and where's the rebound. Oh, Ant's out right now. Nobody missed shots. Everybody just make all your shots. Oh, good. Rebound out of bounds. Great. Okay. One less rebound, just all the way along. And I'm proud, too, that we sweated out for 2 weeks and I never hedged. In fact, I kept betting more Ant rebounds along the way. So we ended up winning like 8 or 9 units along the way on top of it, just game-to-game bets, first quarter bets. It was a good read, and we played it all the way. So it's been a fun month. It's been a good run in the playoffs, and pressure's on now. You got to do it again in the finals. Nobody cares about yesterday. You got to win tomorrow.
And there's two parts to that, right, Brandon? Right, one end is Anthony Edwards has to make an impact in the game, and he's dealing with that Oklahoma City defense. Feels like they took away the outside from Anthony Edwards, and because of that, he had to crash the board, was doing more rebounding. Is there anything from an X's and O's perspective we can take away and learn from that we can apply to the Pacers matching up with the Thunder defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm looking a little bit similar here. I don't know that there's a 50-1 Ant bet necessarily, but I do think the rebounding angle is consistent here, where what we saw a lot was two things. Number one, we saw Oklahoma City go a little smaller. I think that was a fatal flaw by Minnesota, that they went smaller. They pushed Oklahoma City smaller. We saw less Isaiah Hartenstein last series. I think that may be the case again here. OKC, if they get Hartenstein off the court and have Chet as the lone big man, now that changes everything because Miles Turner is going to get pulled out away from the hoop, having to defend Chet away from the paint. That means, number one, Turner and Chet are not in the paint to get rebounds anymore, and suddenly rebounds market is open, rebounds game to game are open for guys like Shea, Siakam, J-Dub, good positional rebounders, and hey, there's no center out there anymore. Someone's going to get the rebounds. Number two, I think that's serious advantage OKC just in the series if we get a similar setup because Chet pulling Turner out, well, Turner is the only real 2-point defense that the Pacers have. Now it's a Shea layup line potentially. Like that's already advantage OKC, but if you get Turner out of the way, whether by fouls or just by matchup, that's really advantage toward OKC and, you know, finals MVP for Shea, obviously a huge favorite anyway. But I do think there are lessons that carry over from the Ant rebounds play that will set up again for similar angles here.
Yeah, we're going to get your series bets, your game one bets. Brandon Anderson joining us talking NBA Finals. Let's just, on big picture, obviously Oklahoma City is a huge favorite in the series. Do you expect it to be an entertaining series?
I definitely expect it to be entertaining. I think both parts can be true. And I know, you know, you gotta like mute the words like market and ratings and all of those things. Just like we all have to talk about it because it's the thing everyone's talking about. The NBA is failing us if they can't sell this series. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the greatest young players in the league. Would have a case maybe for number one if he goes finals MVP, conference finals MVP, MVP title. We don't have, like, especially among guards, there are very few guys in NBA history have done that. Obviously, conference finals MVP is new, but you get the point. Selling that to us and selling Oklahoma City, the team to finally win for the non-Seattle version, their first championship, Sam Presti, Chet Holmgren, and J-Dub, Tyrese Halliburton, star out of the East, surprise Cinderella team. We get the heavy favorite, we get the Cinderella team, like, we get the stars are literally defending each other. They're point guards. We get them head to head. This is an exciting matchup that's going to be high pace. It's going to be high scoring. It's going to be back and forth, quickly pushing the ball up and down, pushing the tempo. This is fun basketball. It may not necessarily be a long series. You'll hear what we think about it. But I think that we can get fun games, and I think we can get fun competitive games even if it ends up not looking like a competitive series. We could get a 4-1 outcome, but still have a fun series along the way and still bet it along the way. I think both parts will be true.
Right now, Oklahoma City minus 650, the Pacers plus 475, Brandon. And I'm on the internet a lot. I know you're on the internet a lot. I have yet to see that bold person out there making that strong, convincing argument why the Indiana Pacers can pull off the upset at almost 5-1 and win this finals matchup with the Thunder. I'm not saying you have to. I imagine you like Oklahoma City as well. But can you create a scenario where you do believe Indiana? Like, how does that look if Indiana somehow pulls this off?
Yeah, you find the occasional Indiana bettor who is saying, now look, I'm not picking the Pacers to win the series. I think there's slight value on the number here. It's like the most anyone will be willing to give us. And you can't blame them. Finals 1 seed against anything 3 seed or worse. 12-0 all time, average 5.6 games. Top 2 seeds win the title. There's only been 2 ever not top 3 seeds that's won the title. The 95 Rockets, which was not really a real thing. They were the 6th seed, but they had Hakeem. They traded midseason for Clyde the Glide. And the 69 Celtics, which were one of the great upsets of all time, and it's Bill Russell's last game ever, and it's a choke in Los Angeles by 2 in Game 7. Otherwise, top 3 seeds win the title. So the deck is stacked against you. Underdogs of plus 250 or longer are 1 in 15 in the NBA Finals from sports odds history. Pistons 04, the only upset. All the other 15, 6 games or less, victorious. So that's what we're up against. How do the Pacers win? I think there's a number of things that they can do to go their way. Number one, they've been really good early in the series. They've been really good at catching teams off guard, especially with tempo. Now, I don't know if that's going to work against OKC, who plays with tempo, but getting quickly into offense. You just got a bucket. You're flexing for the crowd. It's the NBA Finals. Congrats. They just got a bucket on that end, and you're getting the ball out of your own basket now. So I think a possible Game 1 shock to the system. Rick Carlisle is as good as any coach in the NBA right now, and Mark Daigneault still needs to actually finish the job here. Carlisle over Dags. Can Carlisle surprise him with a zone? Can you get some sort of mojo and get the right buttons at the right time? I think that's a possible way to steal a game or two. OKC has not had a lot of close games late. They're 2-1 in the playoffs. They only had 1 close win the entire regular season. We've seen the Pacers keep things close, and we've seen them so far every single series absolutely steal a game. Steal a game. If you have to win 5 out of 7 games instead of 4, that's a lot harder, even if you're the big favorite. The other thing, too, is that there are some factors, like 4-factor stuff. The turnovers are always the big picture with the Thunder. Pacers don't turn over a lot, and they've been turning teams over a lot. That was a big factor against the Knicks. I don't think they're going to take that away, but there are paths where, okay, fewer turnovers, less easy points for OKC, some coaching advantages, some shock to the system. I think the Thunder have struggled on the road comparatively to how good they are at home. The Thunder give up a ton of corner threes, most in the league. Pacers are 40% threes for the entire playoffs right now. There are a lot of paths you can build for the Pacers to win a game, win some games. I think you need multiple of those things I just said to happen each time the Pacers win a game, and then you need 4 of those games to happen. It's an uphill climb. It's not impossible, though. The Pacers have a real shot here.
The Panthers have tied it up at 1, by the way, Stanley Cup playoffs. 9-11 to play in the first. They're going to look at it because Bennett may have interfered with Skinner. We shall see.
Yeah.
We'll finish with your exact series bet. Let's go to Game 1. It's up to 9.5. I do believe you laid the 9 with the Thunder in Game 1.
I did. Home Game 1 is the best bet or one of the best bets you can make in sports, to be honest. The numbers are pretty astonishing for a home team Game 1. Over the last 2 decades, home team in Game 1 of the finals, 16-3 ATS by almost 5 points a game, 17-2 straight up. The Thunder have been particularly good at home in the playoffs, plus 24.7 net rating, just an absurd number. In that stat I gave, favorites in home Game 1 by more than 5 points, 12-0 straight up by 13.5 points a game the last 2 decades. Every single win by at least 8, so already almost covering the number there. All but 2 wins, double digits. I not only laid the 9, I don't mind the 9.5. I bet some alts. Oklahoma City, I believe a third of their wins this season are by 20 points. A quarter of their wins are by 24 points. If you're covering the 10 anyway, what's 15, 20, 25? Those numbers aren't all that meaningful anymore. And we've seen the Thunder push the lead up. I think this sets up for a big Thunder game one. I'll take the Thunder, and I played all as high as I could find them, to be honest.
How about your favorite prop when it comes to game one? What are you targeting? Who jumps out to you when you look at the matchup where Indiana wants to get up and go? Oklahoma City turns people over. They like to get in transition.
Yeah.
What's the look with the props?
So my favorite prop for game one is my favorite prop read on the series, and that is to fade Tyrese Halliburton assists. I think books are badly overrating Halliburton's assist line. It's 9.5 both for game one, and you can bet 9.5 per game for the series. Halliburton averaged only 5.5 assists against the Thunder in the regular season. It was his lowest against any team, and it wasn't just bad teammate shooting, only 11.5 potential assists, also his lowest against any team. That was a schematic thing. Oklahoma City has so many guys, Lou Dort, Caruso, Cason Wallace, so many guys to just throw at Halliburton. And of every player in the NBA, Dort actually holds Halliburton to the lowest usage of any player that when he's defending him. So Halliburton is not going to get his usual space to create. Oklahoma City is not allowing him to be able to slice them up with their passing. It's a schematic thing with a defense that's so good. And so far in the playoffs, they have held Nikola Jokic to 11 points below his points created typically. They've held John Morant to 10 below, Ant to 5 below. This is what they do. They take away your best points creation. They say, nope, you're not beating us that way. Find a different way. So I've played this any number of ways. Under Halliburton, game one, assists, 9.5, 8.5 plus money. I like them both. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, assist leader in game one. Same sort of thing. Plus, we like the Thunder, so they're going to score more points. And series bet, fade Halliburton there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to lead the series in assists. And if you want the long shot, maybe this round, Andrew Nembhard actually led the Pacers in assists in round two. He had one more than Halliburton. The Cavs defended him the exact way that I expect the Thunder to. The Thunder have better guys. If Halliburton's muted and Nembhard has a good series, I've seen him as long as 150-1 to lead the series in assists. I like Nembhard over assists and Nembhard series leader assists as well. So those are my favorite props. Shai over 5.5 rebounds, another angle I like a lot.
That's a great breakdown. I also hadn't heard the stats you gave us on game ones. Tremendous Brandon Anderson, also tremendous Brad Marchand has gone upper shelf. So he tanked it. And the Florida Panthers, who were down 1-0, lead 2-1, still 7:25 to play in the first Stanley Cup Final up in Edmonton. It's getting quiet in Edmonton. Exact series. Can you give us what you're betting in the price for the exact series outcome?
Yeah, so I know the popular pick right now is Thunder in 5, and I hate to be the popular pick. Here's why I think that is the right pick. I mentioned the game one trend and why that's such a good spot for the Thunder. I also mentioned the home advantage. Thunder have been crushing teams at home so far. Oklahoma City has 6 wins already by 19 or more points in the postseason. That's out of 12. That's half of their wins by 19 or more. I think the Thunder get the game one with the trend we talked about. I think they back it up in a tougher game two. I think they could close out in a game 5 at home. So that's 3 wins. I don't see a sweep. It's possible, but I like to bet exact things. I like to give up some outs to kind of hone in on, give me the better price. Let me get the bigger swing. So you can bet Thunder minus 2.5. That's in 5 or less. You can do that. That's like minus 120, minus 140 range. I'm going to take that bet. I'm going to sacrifice the sweep. I'm going to sacrifice the version where the Thunder lose one of the 2 at home. I want Thunder to win in 5, losing one of the 2 in Indiana. So here's how to bet that. Find the exact outcome bets at your book and go win-win, loss, win-win. That's around plus 700. Split your bet, half on that one, and then half on win-win-win, loss in game 4, win game 5. So it's Thunder in 5, lose in either game 3 or game 4. That second one's plus 900. So you're going to get something like a plus 350 to get a Thunder in 5, lose 1 on the road scenario. I'm giving Indiana some respect to get a home win. I'm giving the young OKC team a little little disrespect. You can't quite get the sweep. We don't see a lot of finals sweeps. That's my favorite way to bet the finals because it's a longer shot, but I get some real juice out of it if I'm right there.
Very creative. Love that.
How about this, Brandon, real quick? Looking at next year's odds, the Thunder are the favorite. They're plus 205. I guess the question isn't will they win next year, but how many do you expect this core in Oklahoma City to end up winning when it's all said and done?
Yeah, you can't bet that right now. Let's start there. You cannot give your money to the books 12 months out at 2-1. You can't do it. If the Thunder could be the 91 Bulls right now, they absolutely could be that. J-Dub looks the part of Scottie Pippen. They could be breaking out before our eyes. You still can't give the books your money for 12 months at 2-1. There are injuries, there are upsets, there are all those things. I think this team is not the 91 Bulls because there's a reason we know the 91 Bulls, but I do think this team is set up to win a bunch of times. Shea is an absolute superstar. I think J-Dub has gotten better every single series, and I think we haven't even quite realized the jump that he's made this postseason. Chet is only in his second playoffs and second season. He's been outstanding. They're going to have to replace some of the parts around him, obviously, around those three, but I think this is the first of, I don't know if I had to put a number on it, I'd say at least 3 with this core. And that doesn't sound like a huge number. 3 is a lot. Like 3 is a lot of championships. The Warriors, with all their run, what they get 3 or 4, I think. The Heat, we got the Heatles, and there was not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. No, it wasn't. It was 2. They got 2. So 3 is a huge number. I don't think it's next year specifically because I remember noticing when the Celtics went out, I forget the stat exactly, but I think it's something like since the 2019 Raptors championship, I believe every champion that team and since has failed to even get out of the second round, let alone repeat the next year. Why? It's hard, man. It's hard to keep winning. It's hard to play 100 games and come back with the target on you and play another 100 and come out at the end. You get the Tatum injury, you get the weird 3-point variance and the collapses. I don't think the Thunder are going to rip off 6 championships in a row. That's not how it works anymore. I do think this is their first, and I think there are more to come.
BA, that's the best breakdown of the NBA Finals I've heard on many platforms. So good job. The Action Network handicapper, and he's on a heater, people. He's up like 1 billion units so far in the postseason. He gave you 50-1 with Edwards in the Western Conference Finals. So we'll keep rolling. At Wheaton Brando on Twitter, and you can read him at the Action Network. I hope the flood is doing better at the crib and enjoy the basketball. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, and enjoy the hockey. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you very much. And speaking of the hockey, we'll come back, update you on the number. We got a 4-on-3 situation. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, so if you're not watching the Stanley Cup Final, turn it on because it is, Dustin said it's like a video game. I mean, they are going up and down the ice, just untirable. Like, it was, look, Edmonton had a 4-on-3, and Florida killed it. And it's a 4-on-3 with Draisaitl and McDavid as two of the four. They got good shots on net. Again, this game opened Edmonton with a Draisaitl goal, 1-0, and now Florida has answered 2-1. Florida's built different. We said bet them when they were down 1-0 at plus 190 because they're just not going to get shook, and they're not.
Yeah, look, I know I have to preface this with this is not a statement about the Canadian military, but defense is optional in Edmonton tonight. Right now, no one's playing defense. It's up and down, fast-paced. As soon as one team gets a shot, the other one gets it and starts running or skating the other way, quickly making things happen. Lots of shots on net. I love to see it. I love that Florida goes down in the first, minute and a half of the game. They answer back with 2 unanswered goals. They're now up 2-1, laying that puck in a half. We are still alive, but a minute in, I didn't feel good about things. I'll be honest.
By the way, in Game 1, the Panthers already have scored the most road goals in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we could potentially have 6 more games to go after this one. And
it's kind of a separator, right? Road performance is kind of a separator between like the really good and the elite great teams. Do you perform as well on the road as you do at home? And Florida's actually better on the road in the postseason right now. I think that speaks volumes why we both like them to win the series here.
Yeah, this is wow. Already with the most road goals in Stanley Cup playoff history. That's incredible. I mean, we still have 3 minutes to go in the first period of Game 1, and they've got 2. So they scored 50 on the road so far. And there's Edmonton just teasing their home fans. Perry, I thought he was going to get it by Bobrovsky. He does not. This game, Dustin said it during the break. I don't know why I don't focus more on hockey in the regular season, but there is nothing like playoff hockey. And regular season hockey is great, but this is just next level.
But I say it every year at this time. I end up getting into the playoffs eventually. It takes me a minute, and I'm watching the games, and I'm like, you know what? I need to just start in October. I think that's the thing. It's picking it up midway through is the issue. Just start when the season starts. Lock in right then and there. The NBA you can pick up later. Hockey, pick up at the beginning.
We're going to be joined by the man clad in Ralph Lauren, Mr. VGK himself, Scott Spreitzer, professional handicapper, coming up next year on the program. It is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Okay,
here's
VSiN has you
Patrick
covered.
Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN has you covered with the College World Series. They got the betting guide, which you can download right now for free. So again, it's completely free. Go to vsin.com/CWS. And should mention, Stanley Cup Final is on SiriusXM right now. It's Game 1 between Florida and Edmonton. The Panthers announcers are on Sirius 211, XM 220. The Oilers speed is on Sirius 167. The national broadcast is on NHL Radio Channel 91. Plus, stay tuned for a full post-game show after the final whistle, and you can follow the action on the SiriusXM app. Also, on the SiriusXM app, you can tune into our first hour from today's program, a surprise call from Stephen A. Smith. I thought he was very good in handling the announcement today and explaining his side. So if you'd like to hear that, head over to the SiriusXM app. Okay, it's 2-1 with Florida up on Edmonton, though Scott Spreitzer, who's going to join us now, Scott Spreitzer, many years on the program. Of course, professional handicapper. You can find him, Doc Sports, docsports.com. Scott wins with 2 T's on Twitter. Now, you're watching the game here, and there is a disparity in shots. Fill us in.
Yeah, 15-5 in favor of the Oilers. But one of the reasons that it sounds like we're all three on the same side, and one, which is Florida, and one of the main reasons I did that is because Bobrovsky can handle that. And I thought Bobrovsky over Skinner was like the biggest reason that I took Florida over Edmonton, besides the fact, Florida's been so dominant on the road. And I think they were winning those games by an average score of like 5.4 to 1.4, something crazy like that. So when you're that good on the playoff road, I think it just showed that they're even better than they were last year. Definitely better than 2 years ago when they went to the finals and lost to Vegas. And so that combined with the fact, again, that, listen, if you look at what Edmonton did against Vegas in the games they won or against Dallas in the games they won, it wasn't like they gave up a whole bunch of high percentage chances to those two teams. And so Skinner starts out real bad against the Kings, gets pulled after 2 games with about an .835 save percentage or something like that, comes back after the injury, starts again, and all of a sudden picks it up. And he got a lot of help from his teammates and from his opponents not being able to get high chances when it came to scoring goals or shots on goal. And I thought, boy, I can't see them shutting down Florida to that extent that they did against Dallas and Vegas, which means Skinner has to really be at his very best. And again, got to give him all the credit in the world, the way he rebounded from those first 2 starts against the Kings once he finally got back in due to injury. But I just thought, till I see it against a team like Florida, I can't back Skinner when the guy at the other end of the ice is named Bobrovsky.
Yeah, what about Bob and him and the Panthers? After 1, it's 2-1 Florida on top of Edmonton in Game 1. Current price, Scott, it has Florida minus 180, Oilers plus 140, and the total is now up to 7.5. However, it is juiced minus 154 to the under. With all that scoring in the first, just if you have a feel on that total, would you go with the under or the over the 7.5 at this point with 3 goals in the first frame?
That's tough. You get a couple more power plays out of Edmonton and maybe they score, but at the same time, Florida, they shut down a pair of 4-on-3s, not just 5-on-4s, but 4-on-3s with Draisaitl and McDavid coming at you. And on top of that, Florida was dominating the faceoffs in the early going in this game. It was like 11-3. And then all of a sudden, Edmonton in the offensive zone, 4-on-3 advantage, wins both of the faceoffs they had with that 4-on-3, never got knocked out of the zone. And yet Bob and his defensemen and even the forwards who were on the ice were able to keep it from getting, past Bobrovsky. That's a scary situation. I'd probably look to play the under here. I'm just worried if Florida starts getting 9 or 10 shots on goal at Skinner rather than 5 over the next 2 periods each. Because, even there was one shot there when it was already 2-1. There was one shot, I'm going to say at about the 16-minute mark by the Panthers. I didn't see which player took the shot. And they said glove save by Skinner. If you guys saw that, it went off the side of his glove. It was a lucky stop. This could very easily be 3-1. So that's the scary part. I'm not playing it, obviously. If I absolutely had to, I'd probably end up playing the under on the in-game total.
Scott, You may have heard me say that already with 50 road goals, the Panthers have more than any team in Stanley Cup playoff history. As you were talking, I just started thinking, if they beat McDavid and Draisaitl again, that's 2 in a row. This team's going to be just as good. No reason not to be just as good next year. They're starting to, if they win this one, they're starting to brew something down in South Florida that you never would have saw coming from the Florida Panther organization.
It wasn't that long ago when Vegas was in their first season, and I got tickets behind goal about 5 rows from the ice for about $70. Normally they're about $350 in that area. In December of Vegas' first season, and they were hosting Florida, and I said to my kid at the time, "You want to go to your very first NHL game?" And I picked that game because Florida was so darn bad. I felt pretty sure she was going to get a win out of the Golden Knights with their very first NHL game. And who doesn't want to win when they're a kid and it's their first game? And they blew them off the ice. This organization has turned things around so much and so well and very quickly that it could be a dynasty. If they win this, I mean, they're the favorites, obviously, going into next year if they win this, or the second favorites if they lose this. But if they win, they're going to be the team everybody's talking about again. And I haven't looked to see like who's going to be a free agent in the offseason, things of that nature. But the bottom line is this organization is looking like Tampa Bay of a few years ago. And you could see them being in the Stanley Cup Finals, 3 out of 4 years, 4 out of 5 years, if they can keep the nucleus of this team together and keep Bob, got to keep Bob happy.
All right, I'm glad you brought up Tampa Bay, and I know I'm annoying because I'm constantly bringing this up on the show, but it blows my mind that Tampa Bay won 2, 3 Stanley Cups. This could potentially be number 2 for Florida. So that means 4, 5 cups in the Sunshine State where there is no snow, and we're waiting since '93 in the Canadians, the last time a team north of the border ended up winning the cup. Like, that is insanity. Like, when does Canada break through here, Scott?
Well, you've only got 6 teams, so you're going to have to be able to have a couple more teams maybe. But it's funny, guys, off the track of sports betting, we used to have an office in Vancouver, and a few of those guys came down when we closed that office many years ago. And there's a particular Canadian who we razz each other all the time. And so if Florida wins this, I get to do my knock-knock joke again, and I get to do it on his voicemail, which is knock-knock, who's there? Owen. Owen who? Owen 33. And it just goes on. It's beautiful. Year after year being able to do that. That's another reason I'm rooting for Florida. It's not just about money. There's the important stuff too. Razzing your close friends, man.
That's what it's all about. Scott Spreitzer, Doc Sports handicapper. Scott wins on Twitter. This series we expect to be 6-7, no doubt. The basketball series, not necessarily the same expectations. But there is a feeling that it could be an exciting series, even if we expect Oklahoma City to win this.
All right, guys, I might be throwing a little damper into this whole thing by saying it's going to be exciting. My first thoughts, and I'm sticking to it, is trying to decide if this is going to be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep being 4-1. I don't think Indiana is going to win more than 1 game. Very first thing I did after Indiana won the series, the final game over New York, and I had Indiana in that game. It was a great series for us, betting-wise. I texted Matt Humans right away, and I said, OKC minus 2.5 games. Very first thing that came out of my mind and on my text was that comment, and I don't see Indiana winning more than a game. And, even in game 1, I mean, it's even if they don't cover the spread, which I think they will, I don't think OKC goes down to defeat, in game 1. Everything that Indiana did that took New York out of their game had to do with playing that quick tempo and getting New York out of their comfort zone. And that's what they were able to do in the postseason thus far. Well, what they do best, which gets teams out of their comfort zone, doesn't matter to OKC because they can play at any tempo. Up tempo, they can slow it down, they can play half court. So the advantages that Indiana was able to produce and take New York out of their game for long stretches of time, I don't see them doing against OKC. OKC can play at any pace. And his defensive numbers are historic, so maybe I'm going to eat crow when this is all said and done, but I think it's probably a 4-1 series.
Yeah, Scott, I mean, think about this. Minnesota's a good team. Anthony Edwards is a superstar. Yeah. They made that entire team look very mediocre in the Western Conference Finals. What are they going to do with the Pacers here? From a prop perspective, though, how are you going to attack it? It does feel like a spot where a big like Hartenstein, maybe not used as much for Oklahoma City. Could someone else benefit in the up and down nature between Indiana and Oklahoma City?
Yeah, I haven't played any Hartenstein props yet, but I've looked at a couple, and I might again later tonight or tomorrow early in the day. One of them that I played was Chet Holmgren over 27.5 points, assists, and rebounds, which was minus $1.15 last I checked. That was a few hours ago. They're 11th in postseason rebound percentage, OKC, which isn't great, but the Pacers are worst. And they were 28th and 25th in offensive and defensive boards on average during the course of the regular season. So they're not going to pick up that number too well. They don't match up well in this series. And I think we'll see, Chet really cut loose throughout the entire games and throughout the series, because if you saw him in blowouts in the past of the postseason, he might sit down midway through the fourth and you barely saw him again. The one thing that they've got to worry about or be concerned about, or at least thinking about at all times, is that Indiana came back from 20-point deficits. We saw it, multiple times. You don't sit down your best players for more than a breath or two when you're up 18 with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, because Indiana can come back and steal that game from you. So I think he's going to get 35 minutes at least. And I think in this particular game one clash, he'll be able to grab at least 10 boards, if not higher, just in the rebound department. He can take defenders, big guys, off the dribble. He can shoot over most of the guys that are going to be defending him. And we saw when he got playing time this postseason, meaning that he stayed in the game rather than sitting in blowouts, he handled this number without much trouble. So that was the first bet I made, guys, was Chet Holmgren over 27.5 points, assists, rebounds. The first bet other than game one OKC and series in less than, minus 2.5 on OKC.
We had Samich on yesterday, and he found a creative bet over at DraftKings, which was Oklahoma City wins game one and wins the series. That's the parlay, minus 275. I don't think that's a crazy price to lay. They're going to win the series, and history tells you they're going to win game one.
I like it. I'd rather do that than lay 700, 750 to win the series. I like it. I mean, listen, they're a 9.5 point favorite. I'm not going to jinx us here, but the odds of them losing outright is not that big. But yet at the same time, they might not cover the spread. So I like that better than minus 700 or whatever it happens to be right now. To win game one and win the series, minus 275 is totally a fair price if you want to jump in and make that play. I completely agree. Another prop that I do have, guys, even though I talked about Indiana being, probably weak on the glass in this particular series, I do like Halliburton to go over his rebound prop in game one, which is 4.5, and it was pricey, about $1.40. And again, OKC's not a great rebounding team. They are better than the Pacers, but as far as Halliburton is concerned, he's got to contribute in other ways beyond scoring and beyond assists. And that's what he did against New York. And he's averaged well over 4.5 rebounds in the last series. I think it was like 5.7. And so I think he'll be able to grab his boards. But overall, I don't see this Indiana team being able to compete on the glass, even though OKC's rebound percentage wasn't great, guys. So, but as far as Selmich's, his deal that he got with minus 275 game one and the series, I think that is a fantastic play.
Well, it's just really about all you're doing is sweating game one. Oklahoma City's going to win the series. So it's a 275. Like I really do love that. Go ahead, Doug.
That's great.
Yeah, I was gonna ask for your assistance, Scott, with an impossible situation I put myself in, which is, and maybe Samich's bet is the best possible strategy to get out of this. But I had a couple tickets on the Knicks to win the title. I had 28-1. I had 13-1. And the second Jason Tatum went down on the court while the game was happening, I bet the Pacers to win it all at 11-1. I probably should have just went with the East, or I probably should have just bet the Thunder at that point when they were still around even money.
Mm-hmm.
But as someone who's sweating out an 11-1 ticket on the Indiana Pacers to win the title, is it best to go game by game here, or do I just lay a big price on something in the futures market?
Personally, I would go game by game. I think you're going to make your money back by, maybe not all of it, but make some of it back by going game by game. I would also throw some money on that Samich bet. I would throw some bucks on there too. I think that I'm going to probably add that, guys. I got to go see what the price is now, but glad I did the show tonight. Glad we didn't have any internet service issues. That'll be a bet, but I think you should go that route. Really. do you want to have to lay that, big juicy price with OKC to win this series is the problem. So I'd be going personally, I would go game by game.
Yeah, I would too. Scott Spreitzer joining us. Yeah, we get the NBA Finals tomorrow, Stanley Cup Final. First intermission tonight in Edmonton. Again, Edmonton jumped out to a 1-0 lead, and then Florida answers twice, so 2-1. But Scott let you know, I mean, there's a disparity here. The goaltending is the difference. More shots on net, 15-5-ish in favor of Edmonton. Yet Florida leads 2-1. I think we're going to get a long series here. Reason for potentially a long series, we thought it was going to be a laugher last year with Florida. They win 1-2-3. And then McDavid goes nuts. They pick up 4-5-6, and then a 2-1 win for Florida back at home. I kind of expect the same flow here in this series this year, Scott.
Yeah, besides the bet that we have in game one, we've all got on Florida. I just as a better looking down the road, a better who's looking down the road in game two, I want to see Florida come through, even if I didn't have money on this. But I want to see domination continue as far as shots on goal and expected goals and things of that nature. If we can get that and get a 3-2 win or 4-2 win here or whatever, then I'm going to be looking to come back on Edmonton. But I want to see, again, continued domination over the final two periods in the offensive zone. The scary part about that is, let's say they dominate, Skinner gives up 4 goals and none of them are empty netters. Then you got to decide if you want to back Skinner if he's returning to the form we saw early in the playoffs, which knocked him out of his starting position. But again, if I can get domination out of Edmonton and they lose this game, I'll probably come back with the Oilers. I do like the way, again, late, where they started winning some of those draws, some of those faceoffs. I don't know if people like the casual NHL fan. I know NHL folks in Canada and the NHL fans around the country and bettors like you guys understand how important draws are and winning those. That was one of like the 4 things. I worked for the Las Vegas Thunder in the International Hockey League in the 90s for the first 3 seasons. And I worked for Butch Goring 1 year, and then for Marty McSorley's brother, Chris McSorley, for 2 seasons. And one of the 4 things they wanted me to do when I'm sitting up there by the press box is to show faceoffs won, where they're won, who's winning them, did the opponents win, all that kind of stuff. That was like number 1. They wanted to see faceoffs won, especially on power play situations. And so they started to come around there, but they were getting completely dominated for most of the first period until the last 5 minutes when it came to faceoffs. So important, especially on penalty kill situations.
Scott, I'm just realizing this, but we have 2 3 seeds in the final, which it feels like hockey is the sport that always offers us this, right? So many times it's chalk, chalk, chalk. NFL season, we were just waiting for the Chiefs to at least get to the Super Bowl again for the 3rd straight year. And in the NBA, Oklahoma City, 1 seed. I know Indiana, lower seed, but you still have a 1 seed in there. But hockey, what can we take away from the season with the opportunities out there as bettors where we could potentially get some of these underdogs making it all the way to the end?
As far as hockey, I mean, it's hard to judge because goalies, before the postseason began, Hellebuck was the best goalie on the planet. And then all of a sudden he gets into the postseason. He can't stop shots anymore. Aiden Hill, we did know that, by the way. We talked about that back in January. Yep. Aiden Hill isn't a real starting goalie. Not to knock the guy, but he's a very good backup who got the starting job because of what happened 2 years ago. And now they've got a big contract with him. You didn't know, Ettinger, the guy's getting pulled from a game. You didn't know he was going to have a flop series like he did. So it's really hard to tell, I think, in the beginning. The one thing I did do was stay away from Vegas. But I did think going into the playoffs that we would see Winnipeg or Dallas. Back in like January, February, you guys had asked me a question. Do you see somebody who can knock off Winnipeg at this point? And I said, maybe not out west, but I think the Panthers have the best shot if they get that far in the playoffs. So they're kind of what I thought they would be. But the West, boy, I didn't expect Edmonton to be here, guys.
It's going to be awkward when Scott Spreitzer is bumping around Summerlin and he runs into Aiden Hill. That's what I do know.
I know where a lot of those guys shop, and I'm not too far from where they shop. And I drive a little bit farther down the road for my groceries.
I always say it, and I'll take the opportunity, but that's a legit fan base in Vegas for that hockey team. You can have the conversation about the Raiders being a transplant and others, but VGK is a legitimate fan base.
And I'll say this. What Aiden Hill did for Vegas was incredible. I'm not kissing his butt right now in case he accidentally tuned in to me and I see him at a grocery store. But the bottom line is that what he did was fantastic. He deserves what he got, but he's just not that guy when it comes to just too inconsistent. I'm a huge fan, though. I really am of this team, this organization.
It's okay. I'm sure he's listening. Stephen A. Smith was listening earlier and called in. Aiden Hill, if you're listening, we'll
bring
take
it
your
on.
call. Bring it on, buddy. You think Spreitcher's scared? He ain't scared.
I'm going out of town tomorrow. Bring it on.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you can use his pool, Aiden. I'm sure you can't afford one. Scott can. I heard you guys talking as I came back. You know, the big guy was hosting solo. The only thing that I wondered when he asked you to come on at 10:30 at night, did you say that's a little too early?
That's good. I told him, I remember coming on and saying, I'm finally in my wheelhouse. I'm finally in my
brain's
comfort zone.
firing.
It's 1:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm here, baby. I'm like, talk to me about whatever you want. Things I haven't even handicapped yet. That brain fires at that time of night.
I'm so the opposite. I was telling somebody earlier, maybe it was Maury. I was telling him, I'm like, he's like, we were talking about the show and potentially time change or whatever. And he's like, 8 o'clock's late to you? I'm like, dude, I'm in bed at 9:30.
No, guys, I don't know what happened. I hit the age of like 39 last year. I'm not going to use the even number of 40 recently. But I hit and if I'm not in bed by 10 p.m. at night, I'm miserable the next day. I need to be in bed and asleep before 11.
I wish I had that circadian rhythm, guys. I mean, I'm going to give you an example. Last week, I forget what night it was, but there wasn't it's probably a Wednesday night or something. There wasn't a big baseball schedule, like 6 games or something. It was a getaway day or whatever on a Thursday. And there was like a day or two off between NBA games. I went to bed at like 1 a.m. I woke up at 6 a.m. going, what in the heck am I going to do for the rest of the day? I mean, I can't do it. I got to be up till 4 so I can at least sleep till 10. If I was texting people, I'm like, hey, you want to go get breakfast? They're like, what the heck are you doing up? Do you stay up all night at 6 a.m.? No, I fell asleep at 1. I'm done sleeping for the day. It's crazy.
Has pool season officially started there? Are you guys up into the triple digits yet?
We were, and all the clouds came in. And it's been kind of threatening. There was hail in Vegas on the east side yesterday, as big as marbles. And so I got in the pool Saturday or Sunday and haven't been in since. Just one time, because we've had nothing but cloud cover ever since. You know, my kid turned 21 yesterday. We're dodging hail and lightning to get to the strip to go out to dinner.
Be careful, by the way, if Aiden Hill is listening and he wants to use your pool, because your pool's pretty good right now, but he's a little leaky. Might overflow with how leaky of a goalie he is.
Oh, man.
Had to get that one in there.
That was Dustin Swedelson, everybody.
Wait, where was the 21st birthday dinner in Vegas?
We ate at the MGM. Her official party's this Saturday. Okay, she gets a comped room for all of her friends, comp suite at the MGM on Saturday night, this coming weekend. And when I celebrated my 21st, it was at a dive that's still open called the Four Kegs on Jones and the Expressway in Las Vegas, for those who are familiar with Vegas in that area. So I get a dive with about 15 of my closest friends. She's comped for a suite at the MGM Saturday night. Last night, she wanted to go to this joint called Netflix Bites, which I had never heard of.
Oh, I saw that.
And she had her first alcohol drink last night. At least that's what she tells me. You know, that she hasn't had any at college. I think it was because she took one sip and she was like, oh my God. So she's either a great actress or she's never had it before. And she drank maybe 3 sips and she was done. Florida just scored, guys.
I think it was Bennett. A breakaway for Florida, and no mistakes made by Bennett as he goes top shelf on Skinner. This is 3-1. Plenty of time to go. It was, I mean, it's just typical Florida, to be honest with you. It just they got the puck and they immediately turn in transition, and Bennett made no mistakes. I'm going to see if Skinner could have done better here.
Dude.
No, not really. Just crisp passing and great transition from Florida. You're watching it as well. Maybe Skinner could have done a little bit better.
It was a weak blocker attempt.
Yeah,
they have 3 goals on 8 shot attempts. That is an absurd success rate.
That's lethal.
Kind of makes you feel good when you said the final nail in the coffin for me was Bobrovsky over Skinner, you know?
Yeah, Skinner's proven you're right now. All right, let's see. Baseball before we go. You got anything for us?
Yeah, there's a game still to go tonight, a little after 10 o'clock Eastern time tonight. I played the over, which was 10, and then there was a pitching change between the Twins and the A's. And we now see that it'll be Justin Sterner on the mound for the A's to start this one. He's expected to go, at least last check. He's a righty, 28 appearances this season, all out of the pen. So he's likely not going to be in there too long tonight. He's been tagged for 7 earned runs, guys. I'll say this again, 7 earned runs, 10 base runners, 9 of those were hits, and a grand total of 1 inning of work in his last 3 appearances. And he's pitching in West Sacramento. Got to take a shot, even though it's pumped up a half a run to 10.5, and the pitching change was made. A lot of pitchers are going to take their bumps in this one, or take their, I guess, chances on the mound in this one for the A's, because I don't think Sterner will be in there long. They've got the highest bullpen ERA, as everybody knows, in the NHL, as Edmonton scores. The A's have given up
back.
what? What's that? Yeah, they just scored.
Got one back, 3-2.
How about, I got a stat for you though on the Oakland A's, guys, or the Oakland A's, Sacramento A's, Vegas A's, whatever you want to call them.
Same thing.
Check this out. First of all, they've allowed 10 or more runs in 4 of the last 6 games and 7 of the last 13. During this 1-19 skid, they've allowed 227 hits in 719 at-bats. That's a .316 opponent's batting average and 11.4 hits per game over their last 20 games. That's what the A's have allowed. I mean, we're probably going to see 2-1 tonight, right? I think this game goes over the total 10.5.
Yeah, I like that with that pitching matchup with them pulling Springs last minute. And
yeah,
I don't even know who the kid pitching. I don't even know who he is. I'm trying to pull his name up right now. I've never heard of him. The ball's going to get knocked around. Zebby Matthews will get hit for Minnesota. Yeah, Justin Sterner on the bump for the
and when you're almost 30 and you've got 28 appearances on the season and not one's a start, and you're almost 30, it kind of tells you something too.
I just got 10. I just bet 10. So I got a bet.
Cool.
Shot for the best number. You can find a 10. I got 10 minus 115 on that one. And we do have, there's still 16 minutes to play in the second. It's 3-2. So if you took the over, you're feeling good about yourself right now.
One shot, one goal for Edmonton.
In game's 8.5.
Yeah, it's back.
Did I change my opinion?
You can do whatever you want. Scott Spreitzer, Doc Sports, DOCSports.com, handicapper at Scott Wins on Twitter. Happy birthday to your daughter, 21. That's crazy. I think that the reaction to the alcohol might be true. I think that might be legit. I think you might have gotten lucky. With your daughter here.
She was so happy that she actually had to show her driver's license to a waitress and the whole shebang. Then we're walking out of the MGM. Guys, I've never been a slots player at all. I'll play some blackjack once in a while. I'm talking live blackjack. I've probably played slots or video poker in Vegas. I've been here for 40 years since I was a teenager. I think I played slots 15 times in 40 years, and it's normally just like waiting for the movie to start at the casino and $20. So she puts in $10 last night as we're walking out just to be able to do it. We had a couple of her friends with us, and she lost it in about 38 seconds. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm out of here. No way." That was that. So didn't like the alcoholic drink, didn't like the slots. I'm a happy father.
I lived in Vegas for 3 years. I can say this with full authority. I never put a penny in a slot.
Good for you.
It doesn't even intrigue me.
No.
It just doesn't.
Hot take. I think I'm too stupid. Some of them are more complicated than you think. I don't know what doesn't win. I don't know what I have to keep in the next spin, what that means. I don't know how any of the games work, and I'm intimidated to show everyone how dumb I am.
That's great.
The big guy. He's trying to make up for that long Aiden Hill take with the pool. You could tell halfway through he wasn't even committed to it.
I thought I had something. I wanted to use it. I was like, I can't just let this go. I feel like it's good. And then by the time it came out of my mouth, I was like, this is a big mistake, but I've come way too far.
When are you going to be back in town, Dustin?
I will be back on Sunday. I'm hosting Live Bet Sunday on VSiN from 1 to 4 p.m.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure Aiden knows when he should show up at the store,
Hey, there's a new Whole Foods by my house. I'll meet Aiden there.
The leaky pool. It catches up to everybody. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you.
Good luck, guys. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Scott Spreitzer. Leaky pool, big guy. Leaky pool.
It's not my best.
Omaha. Omaha.
Omaha was better than that.
I think so, because this one a little more convoluted.
Well, yeah, Omaha, I felt cornered, and I had to come up with something. This one I forced. That's the issue.
So when you hear me do a Aiden Hill shtick, you think, I got to tag that.
I think I got something because a pool has water. You use the term leaky for a goalie who allows a lot of goals. I was like, I can play off the pool and leakiness and see if we come together here. In the end, I just drown on the air. You see what I did?
There you go. You just fixed it. I think it's an A for effort. Listen, this game. Is that what the kids say? This game?
Yeah.
And then you just put like period.
Yeah, let's do that hockey.
This hockey game is insane. I mean, there's 13 minutes to play in the second. It's 3-2 Florida. And it is up and down, up and down.
Unlike you, I don't have Stephen A. Smith words written down, and I don't know what most words mean. Fervent, is that the word that would describe the pace of this game? Fervent?
Yeah, I think you used it correctly. Well done. Well done. Well done, big guy. What do you want to do coming back?
I have a special edition of Smash or Pass put together where, let me give you a tease, Southpaw presidents and astrology are on the docket.
I can think of one already. Can think of two Southpaws, and we'll get to your calls. That's a nice little tease there from the big guy. Not leaky at all. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Our guys Jacob and Eric back in New York City. Great job. Always Ryan Smith in Vegas at VSiN Live on YouTube. Give us a follow on YouTube. Plenty of free plays over there as well. Dustin dancing, Dustin Swedelson. I'm Patrick Maher as we welcome you back. Got Smash or Pass with the big guy coming up. But let's take your calls. It is 3-2, 9:14 to play in the second in Edmonton. Florida leads. The game is electric. It's all, I mean, seriously, the boys are buzzing tonight on the ice in Edmonton. Up and down, up and down. And speaking of hockey, let's go to Texas and say hi to Sean. Hey, Sean.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. So, man, oh, man, what the Panthers have done. Like, honestly, that whole, like, because at the time they traded for Kachuk, everyone thought it was an overpay. Everyone thought Meagher and Huberdeau were too much to give up. And they had the courage, they made the trade, and they went and did it. And honestly, as a Stars fan, it makes me kind of hope that Robo maybe is available, because if we can get someone like that to change the tone and just mimic Florida, like, then let's do it. Because they were a great team, or a good team. They were knocking on the door, President's Trophy. They scored a lot of goals. They just couldn't get over the hump. So they said, you know what, let's trade our 115-point scorer, one of our top defenses. Let's get a little grit. Let's get a little mean and a star in Kachuk. And now they've been to 3 straight Cups, and they may very well be on their way to back-to-back. So I got to give them credit for going there. Way.
Dude, it's a great call because Kachuk changed the personality of the Florida Panthers. The Kachuk brothers are great. Their dad obviously was a great player. Matthew Kachuk is legit, and he's been great for the Panthers. Let's say hi to our buddy Tony in Detroit on a busy day here, Tony, on Mad Dog Sports Radio. That's for sure.
Very busy. Before I get to the hockey, listen, Patrick, I'll be in the beautiful Upper Peninsula, 1st of July, kicking back. If I tune in from 7 p.m. and hear some donk, buster-ass donk, 7 to 10, I'll smash and pass my Sirius subscription. I will be passing hard. If my boys, I'm reading through the tea leaves, Patrick. It's upsetting me. I'm legit. It legitimately is pissing me off.
Hey! Here's the bright side, Tony. Maybe I'll have time to go to Mackinac Island with you and the family and vacation. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, Patrick? I know you well enough from the radio. I would never invite you to an outing or a bar. You're just a boy on the radio. I know you. Hey, it was just like Mike Delsey invites Beetle and Becker to get canceled. I would never want to put that on you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Never. I just know you two are the best damn duo on this channel. And when you came back and took me as the first caller in January, I'm telling you, I'm pissed. I'm pissed, and I don't get mad a lot, Patrick and Dustin. I'm sorry.
I got you. No, you're okay. We'll see. Let's let it play out. That's all I would say. We'll let it play out and hope for the best, Tony. But listen, regardless, you're my boy. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, hey, on the hockey, there's never been 2 players. The 2 best players in hockey right now are on one team. It's never happened. It really never has. Messier was top 5 probably, but you had Lemieux at that time. And you did say something interesting the other day. Fedorov was one of the best players in the world, and he took a big back seat, Patrick, to Steve Yzerman, a lot of people in this town. And I'll tell you another thing that irks me about the Ilitch is, answer me this, Patrick, why doesn't 91 hang from the rafters? It should.
They haven't retired Fedorov?
They have never had anything for Fedorov. They've never retired Fedorov. Lidstrom's retired, obviously. Yzerman. Now, they've only retired a few. The Red Wings aren't the Pistons and these teams that retire a bunch. But Fedorov is Fedorov. And a lot of people in this town, we know how it was back then. But he was one of the best players, and that's why we had some of those cups.
You helped me remember. I think there was some weird stuff with Fedorov in the organization.
He left. Hey, Mr. I, the legend, he left for Anaheim. Remember, he took the money and he went to Anaheim. Yes, he left as a free agent. He turned down the Wings deal and he went to Anaheim, signed with the Ducks. That's where Fedorov left in 2001, whatever year that was. I don't remember, whatever year that was. But we have those cups because of Sergey, and 91 should hang in the rafters, and he took a back seat to a lot of players on that team.
He did. He did. Well, I mean, it was such a great team. You're so right, though, by the way. I love Aaron and Samic, but the gap between, no disrespect to Messier, the gap between Gretzky and Messier was that's like a countrywide compared to the gap with McDavid and Draisaitl, to be fair.
It would be Gretzky and Lemieux on the same team.
Yeah, exactly.
Draisaitl would be the best player on every team in the NHL except the Oilers. And I'll be honest with you, and McDavid's a lot better in my opinion. I mean, he just is. But it's literally like Gretzky and Lemieux. And if Florida does beat them 2 times in a row, I mean, it's saying something.
Saying something, for sure. Tony, you're the best. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll be talking. Don't worry about that.
We did have Lemieux and Meagher on the same team, but I guess it's not quite.
Yeah,
that
no,
level.
but you had Gretzky. It's a tough question. That's why I'm asking it. But no, Gretzky was just like on a planet that didn't exist, and then Messier, Mario Lemieux was something. That's where it starts to get interesting. Mario Lemieux is a top 5 player all time.
Yeah, and back in the day, NHLPA on the Super NES system, you get the goalie stuck on the net with the wraparounds. That Penguins team was loaded. Couldn't be beat.
No need to hit the open. We can just start with smash or pass, and we'll carry it over into closing tabs, big guy. What do we got?
All right, smash or pass here. So let's do a sports one real quick, just to cover our bases.
I hear you, brother.
Let's see. We're at a point with Giannis where he's looking for his next potential team. Giannis needs to stay in the Eastern Conference if he wants to win a title. Smash or pass?
Oh, that's a good one. San Antonio would be interesting. That's
Yes.
West the last time I checked.
Yes.
You know, I'm starting to the momentum with Toronto. If Toronto has the assets, because it's a national, it's all of a sudden he's a national brand. Like there's something about Giannis. Giannis feels Toronto to me. I don't know why, but an international brand, I should say. He said national. I think he does make sense for Toronto. Scotty Barnes and a million picks. I don't know if that's enough to get it done, but there might be something there.
International city, so I'm making assumptions because I've never been. Probably a solid Greek neighborhood, Greek representation within Toronto. I know your town. I know Detroit has a Greek town where there's a lot of Greek people, so I feel like that would make sense. And he would fit in with Canadians because he's a humble superstar. He'd kind of be like a perfect move for him to go Milwaukee, Toronto, bigger city, bigger world market, humble superstar. It all makes sense to me.
Let's go, big guy. You got another one?
Only 7 U.S. presidents were left-handed. They were James Garfield, Harry Truman, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama. But which of that group do you believe was the best closer? Very wide open.
Wait,
Very
hold
wide
on.
open. Trying to make a
What
sports
now?
parallel. I'm trying to make closer, like they got stuff done.
So you gave me Barack
Garfield, Truman.
Garfield is one of the biggest what-ifs in the history of politics. Andrew,
is he the one who spent more money than anyone else to campaign?
No, listen to what Andrew Garfield could. Garfield could literally write at the same time with both hands. He could write in Latin. He was the smartest president we've ever had, one of the most well-read presidents we've ever had, and was killed by doctors. He was shot, and he should have lived. The bullet was lodged inside of him. But back in the day, there was no such thing as antiseptics. So doctors were going in with their dirty-ass, grubby hands trying to get the bullet out. As a matter of fact, they even called in, I think they even called in Einstein or somebody that was actually trying to find the bullet with machines, radar detectors or whatever. But Garfield, pride of Ohio, Cleveland, was not smart. He was a genius and a good guy. Needed change at the time. Remember, that was when the White House was literally, you could just walk in and talk to the president. It was supposed to be the representative of America, and the crazy that shot him had walked in, asked for a position in government. He was loco. ended up shooting Garfield, and Garfield died because of mismanagement by the doctors. As far as closers, nobody's been put in a situation that Harry Truman was put in. Harry Truman met FDR once, and then we found out that he obviously died in his fourth term, early in his fourth term. World War II was going on. Truman had to learn about the atomic bomb and then make a bunch of decisions with Stalin and Churchill waiting for him to come and meet at Potsdam. I mean, are you effing kidding me? So many things that Harry Truman got absolutely dumped in his lap and somehow navigated it. He's one of the greats.
And the S doesn't stand for anything. And back on Garfield, one, we named a cartoon cat after him. Secondly, you're talking about the surgery. In researching and finding questions for this segment, because I'm not well-versed in presidents like you are, I didn't realize George Washington died because they tried to give him a blood transfusion from, like, lambs.
Well, they bled out.
Yeah.
He literally, back in the day, they didn't know how to deal with infections, so doctors would literally bleed their patients, so they would cut their arms and just let them bleed out the old blood. It was so ratchet. But yeah, Truman's up there, and no politics, but I'm just telling you what he accomplished. He had a lot.
Yeah.
He had a lot on his plate.
It sounds like it.
He had a lot.
Nobody's been thrown in the mix quite like Harry S.
Remember, the vice presidency, like John Adams said, it's essentially he'd rather drink a bucket of spit. The vice presidency back in the day, and then modernity changed it. Vice presidency was the worst job in America. Presidents didn't talk to the vice president. Vice president had nothing to do with the cabinet. They were just there hanging around, kind of listlessly. So Truman was just hanging out with the Senate, and then FDR, he died. He gone. We'll come back and take your calls and close tabs next.
Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. today's show. You see what I did there? Yeah. By finishing all of the conversations we touched on today. This is Closing Tabs.
Yeah, Jacob is right. I can't pretend to know presidents and be calling James Garfield Andrew Garfield. I called him Spider-Man. But I have read a 500-page book on James Garfield because I'm a loser. Candace Millard, I believe, wrote it. Very good. Let's go to the calls, and then we'll close with Closing Tabs here. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Still 3-2. A minute 23 to go in the second. Florida leads Edmonton in a great game. We'll say hi in Michigan to Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Patrick, Justin. Super impressive presidential history.
Oh,
several things I never knew. So,
thank you.
So that was something else. And so the Stephen A. Smith thing, briefly, I change. You're right. You said this a couple hours ago about change happens. I didn't like Beadle and Decker when they first got on the air. They didn't take many calls. They started taking calls. I kind of liked them. I hope, we all know Stephen A. I hope he adapts to the expectation of the Mad Dog Sports Network audience. That's all.
Yeah. That's a very, very fair call, Jeff. I think you're right. I think he's going to take a while, but he has to take calls, and he has to take calls from people like you that are going to challenge him, and I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yep. And real quick on good hockey matchups. And I think it was 97. So I'm in Michigan, but I'm a St. Louis, Missouri transplant. I'm a diehard Lions fan now, but I'm still a Blues fan. The Blues got Grant Fuhr and Wayne Gretzky, and I think it was 97. And they were in the same conference as the Red Wings, and then got to the Game 7 of the conference finals, and Yzerman sniped in a shot in overtime from just inside the blue line. I don't know, Patrick, if you're old enough to remember that.
I remember
Oh, my God. My friends here in Michigan, where I live now, they brutally, assault me with that all the time. And the Red Wings won the Cup that year. There were at least a few times when the Blues were on the cusp and the Red Wings did them in with that group of the Russians, but Grant Fuhr and Wayne Gretzky, they were a little long in the tooth, but they couldn't do it. They damn near did it for the Blues, but didn't do it.
You're a good, hey Jeff. You're a good Michigan man. I like your level head. He said something I wanted to react. Well, first off, yeah, I absolutely remember the Yzerman shot. It was insane. We went crazy, and then just to kind of put a bow. First off, you mentioned St. Louis, Missouri. Speaking of Harry Truman. Independence, Missouri, right outside of Kansas City. Maybe Dustin's the only one that knows this. I took a road trip by myself. Now, you want to think loser? I took a road trip by myself and went to the Harry Truman Library in Independence and walked around with Jeezy, walked around the town and stared at Harry S. Truman's house. Both of them, the one he lived in with Bess, his wife, and the one that he was raised in. That's how I spent a vacation as like a 44-year-old man.
Yeah, I think the perception of you is not of that. People who don't know you. No, they think like you're Mr. LA lifestyle, yoga by the beach, be seen. Like, you once went on a trip with your best friend to Gettysburg. You wasted a vacation in Gettysburg to bury his dead cat, I believe.
America was the cat's name. No, Freedom was the cat's name. And I still have a picture of my friend on the battlegrounds of Gettysburg crying with an urn, with the cat in the urn, pouring it out over the battlefield. Okay.
If people only knew what you were about. I mean, it's wild.
I'm glad they don't, big guy.
You know what? It's good.
I'm glad they don't. I never had more fun than walking around Harry S. Truman's. Harry S. Truman was a big walker, so I literally walked the path that he would walk every day.
Does that path end with
hey, by the way, that sounded like a flex. It wasn't meant to be.
No, does that path end at Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
That's not. See, you'll always make up for that leaky pool. You want to close tabs?
Yeah, this edition of Closing Tabs brought to you by Klonopin. I say that hoping for a free prescription to get me through the next couple months here. All right, Garfield. James Garfield, the cat was not named after the president. The cartoon character was created by Jim Davis in 1978 and actually has no connection to the president. So thought that was an interesting fact there.
Yep.
You used some words at the beginning of the show. You referred to them as Stephen A. Smith words. So scintilla, I've heard him say it a lot. It's Latin for quote-unquote spark, refers to a small trace or barely perceptible amount of something. And then derelict, a noun, a person with a home, job, or property.
3-2, second intermission, big guy. Florida leads. Going to be a great third period. Thank you to, Jacob and Eric and Ryan Smith and Stephen A. Smith. You can find that conversation on the SiriusXM app. Aaron Halterman, Brandon Anderson, and Scott Sprecher. We'll see you tomorrow.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.